Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another exciting race here in our continuing coverage of the Crossworld Keys Sanity Tournament. Joining us here in the booth is Amazing Ampharos, as well as Dane8373. Our today's racers are Skele and Kyraeu, our wonderful trackers, Tofile, as well as SayRyuX. We'll be clicking the buttons, and without further ado, I'm going to hand it over to our wonderful commentators. Have a good race, guys.
Yeah, we have a pretty exciting one coming up here today, I'd say, because this is a 5-2 match. And what this means for these runners is very simple. The winner of this race will be in the playoff race in about a week and a half, and the loser will be enjoying watching the playoff race from Twitch chat.
Yeah, it'll be always a big race like that when you've got elimination on the line. And it's also even bigger because you don't even get to take a week off. If you've got finished with X1, you're safely into the playoff phase, but it's never a great time when you have to go through one of those big qualifier races, but obviously preferable to not having any sort of shot at all.
Though this one's going to be a little more generous than most of them, because more than half the field will make brackets, as assuming all the matches that come up result in a winner. If we get ties, a lot of nonsense can happen. But so far, whole tournament, no ties. Let's just continue the no ties way, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It would be a real shame if these runners were to have a tie and then miss the playoffs because of it.
Yeah, if anyone was unclear on that point, if there is a tie in a 5-2 race, it's not both make it, it's both don't make it. So no one wants a tie here today.
Yeah, I guess except for the other people who are sitting at 2 losses and would like to have a little bit easier of a qualifier race. And we see the big key of GT first, so that is exciting, I guess.
Oh, I am a firm member of Team Sankstart, so as far as I'm concerned, the first chest is a wonderful 5 rupees.
Yeah, I guess there's always the controversies depending on which star you prefer. I personally prefer the Houlihan route because I just got to get that money.
Oh, but look, the rupee crabs have 20 rupees. I call this a win for Sankstart today.
Oh, I think so too. Yeah, unless the Witch's Hut is something very nice that you will orphan later. Whenever you get either the Sank at Useless Ferry or some other early way to get money, then the Houlihan routers are a little bit off behind, though there's plenty of race left to make up that sort of thing.
The Witch's Hut is very interesting. It's the Hyrule Castle connector. In this position, I honestly might have just checked it out because you don't really want to do more nonsense. You can come back later, but Skele's kind of sticking to the very traditional Houlihan route here, while Kyraeu has made his way into the woods, going to be routing down to CAC, pretty much the way you route a Sankstart when you start up at the Lumberjack tree.
Yeah, and we also saw the Swamp Palace up in that top chest game forest entrance, where that's normally a chest game, which will be interesting later. Also seeing 8 bombs on a triple, so really, this route has been very nice for Kyraeu because you get a lot of money and a lot of bombs for basically nothing.
Yeah, that'll certainly be a blast, but we also found our Uncle Tunnel here in Useless Ferries, so it's narrowing down our drops a little bit. Not really where you want to see Uncle because it's such an easily accessible entrance, but at least it's 2 checks.
Yeah, I do really like it when you find Uncle at the Lumberjack. Even at the Hammerlock Magic, that spot is nice.
I mean, honestly, even at the Glovelock Sank spot isn't awful.
Yeah, true. Because gloves can be quite elusive in Crosskeys sometimes.
Yeah, I've had Pearless seeds. I don't know if I've had a Gloveless seed. It's certainly possible.
Yeah, all you technically need is Ice Palace to be a pendant, but in practice, a lot of the glove lock entrances end up mattering.
And I mean, you can easily have a seed where you don't need gloves, but you just run into them anyway, because there are 2 of them in the item pool.
So we found the front of Turtle Rock over here in Kakariko, which can be it's useful to get the magic for free, but also could be a nice connector. Also finding Kakariko well in its vanilla location, which is great because there wasn't very many accessible drop downs right now. In fact, I think that there wasn't any that they could get right now, so very nice to see that there.
On Skele's side, we found everyone's favorite entrance, the archery minigame. Very good way to farm rupees if you're desperate, but certainly no one's first choice, and indeed, Skele just leaves it behind.
Yeah, especially if you already Houlihan, you don't necessarily need any more money right now. You're not thinking about going to Zora anytime soon, and plus you find those bushcraft giving away the 20s and won't regret your decision at all.
Ooh, minor point of divergence. When Kyraeu found Desert Main, he just turned and left. Skele's going in and going to get this one chest. Now, there's a little bit of a controversy people don't talk about in the community with this one, where whether you want to get this in logic easy chest or you want to save the time and do it later when you can check it for connector. Today, get the chest wins big. It's the mirror.
Oh yeah, that is a big one depending on when Kyraeu elects to go back to that mirror location, because the mirror and Crosskeys can be so important when you're going on your bunny walks early. They can even sometimes be required to get the moon pearl.
Yeah. So this is something I've been saying for over a year, really. I think the mirror is the single most valuable item to find early in Crosskeys. Give me a choice. Do I want an early mirror, an early hammer, an early boots, an early flute, an early moon pearl? Give me the mirror.
Oh yeah, I agree, because it just makes routing the seeds so much easier. And like, of the bad things that can happen in Crosskeys, most of them involve getting the mirror and then going back to some stupid bunny walk where you have to mirror to find the moon pearl or some other item. It's just not that fun.
And the other little piece of information we got out of that, we saw the sword on the Desert Torch, and we saw the Desert Left entrance leads to Desert Right. I really like being dropped out of Desert Right early in the game, because it just makes checking these desert entrances a little faster, and it rules out a connector forever.
Yeah, I agree. If you really want to find that as early as possible so that you haven't checked desert yet.
One of our trackers is asking if we saw the hook shot in the lumberjack drop, which is in the Magic Bat location. And to that I say, I don't know. I didn't see what that was.
Yeah, I didn't look at that either.
Oh, look, the mirror's immediately making a big play here. This is 6 entrances right away.
Yeah, and that could end up being, whenever you have that many entrances, there could be something good over here that ends up being required. Especially when you find 5 items right here with Mini Moldorm Cave. Luckily, you got those early bombs that was able to complete this without a weapon.
Oh man, I really thought that Mini Moldorm hugging the door was going to troll Skele there, but at the last moment it moved just a pixel down for him. There's always a little bit of RNG to killing the Mini Moldorms with the bombs, especially the one that's in the same column as you, but Skele was able to get it done.
Kyraeu found the bottom of Spiral and is going to clear out the other entrance over by Race Game, but probably want to go and do that right away, get the free item, and there's really nowhere else to go on this route since he did the Kakariko from the north to south.
How are you going to get an item from the bottom of Spiral?
Sorry, Spectacle Rock, not Spiral.
Because I think he actually did find the bottom of Spiral, too, for whatever it's worth.
But yeah, the Spectacle Rock was in the not this louse, the one in the southeast of here.
Yeah, another interesting thing that Kyraeu found that isn't helpful at all to him, he found the bottom of Paradox Cave. And that's interesting because when Skele gets back there with the mirror, he will be able to sequence break his way in with a block deletion.
Yeah, and there's 7 items in Paradox. It's always nice to get those as early as you can.
Ooh, here's a play that Skele's making. Skele finds the middle of Turtle Rock, has nothing that could reasonably be called a weapon, and is just going in. I think you gotta skip the vanilla big key chest here. You just can't kill the Pokey.
Yeah.
But if you're careful, you can get the Chomp Room chest, and it is in logic.
Yeah, that chest is in logic quite early, so definitely worth getting. Also, Kyraeu able to pull off the Spectacle Rock bomb jump and has found Hyrule Castle up on the Dark Death Mountain. So it was Dark Death Mountain right was the Spectacle Rock entrance, and then the left one is Hyrule Castle right. So he's going to find that Witch's Hut entrance.
Well, on Skele's side, to be blunt about it, just didn't handle the Chomp Room right. Took a pretty bad death there. Going right back, this can get costly really fast if you don't manage this in a hurry. The difference between him being on half heart and 3 hearts is academic. He dies in 1 hit to chomps no matter what.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely, you got to evaluate, okay, how much do I want to risk, time do I want to risk here? Like maybe you go there once and then with this loadout, maybe you want to come back later. Though it is kind of an annoying spot if this were to be progression, so I can understand why he wants to knock it out. And then meanwhile, on Kyraeu's side, the Hyrule Castle left entrance ended up being Hype Cave entrance, which, again, when Skele goes over and checks that, we'll have the mirror, so we can get some of the mirror-locked entrances down here. Kyraeu is just going to do the nearby bunny walks.
Yeah, and doing this bunny walking here without the mirror in possession when we know it's available, it feels kind of bad, honestly, but I don't necessarily blame Kyraeu for making these checks, because it was a pretty long route to get here, and these aren't the slowest bunny checks to make in the world. They're all kind of in a close perimeter around that Hype Cave entrance.
Yeah, I agree. I think when you get, like, if you would walk all the way over to archery game, that would be a bit of a reach. But when you get put out into the dark world, sometimes it's nice, especially when you're just walking around. You can track where you just came out of while you're walking over and maybe knock out an annoying entrance like that one to the south of the pod area.
Yeah, and we had 2 things that both runners are backtracking on each other. At 9:30, Kyraeu made his first check of Link's house, while Skele has finally gone to Sank and is heading into the woods.
And I'm gonna decide to go. Did we already find Ganon? He's jumping right into that drop down there.
No, but this isn't a bad play that Kyraeu's making here, because what do you lose if you save and quit out of the Uncle drop? Not very much, but a majority of useful drops you could find, you have to drop into them to get the item, right?
That's true. Yeah, because he is down. Let's see. I don't know if he's seen the Lumberjack entrance, because I'm just trying to think from his perspective, what could it have been? Because I know we haven't seen Magic Bat, Ganon, and that useless fairy.
I guess, wait, wasn't Lumberjack supposed to be in Magic Bat? Has he seen all the drops? And if so, that actually, oh no, he has Powder. He was hoping for Magic Bat.
I see, that makes sense. Yeah, because if you don't have Powder, then it's like, what was he going for? But yeah, he knows better than us what items he's got. So shout outs to our trackers for picking that up.
So yeah, we saw there wasn't a whole lot of interest in CAC. The main thing of interest is the mystery of what's in Paradox Cave that Skele will be able to answer for us. While Kyraeu's heading over east, we haven't seen anything on the road over to the Eastern Palace area. It seems reasonably likely there's some sort of value in this direction.
Yeah, for sure, because we still need a good amount of stuff to really get anywhere, unless that mirror is really just the answer to all our questions.
Yeah, and it's actually pretty interesting that Mirror led to Mini Moldorm Cave, and then Mini Moldorm Cave was just a total whiff.
Yeah, for sure, because when you find that many entrances and items over there that are only accessible via the mirror right now, you'd expect to get something out of it, but I guess not. And so, speaking of the mirror, though, so that those entrances that Kyraeu just found on the Laser Eye and Big Chest entrances for Turtle Rock, you'll get more entrances if you have the mirror for those. So it'll be nice for when Skele goes over there. And this is kind of just demonstrating what you said earlier about how nice it is to get the mirror early, because we've just seen how many times has Kyraeu gone to some nice places where you could mirror to get a little bit more and just didn't have the mirror.
There was Super Bunny Cave. Kyraeu didn't go through that, did he?
No, he did not.
So that's another kind of lucrative possibility, is you just head through Super Bunny Cave and it's 2 items right away.
And speaking of lucrative stuff, well, Kyraeu has found the laser bridge, which is not in logic in this mode without having either the mirror shield or some sort of invincibility item, but you can still get the items and they're often worth it to get. You see the book there, which that would give them the desert entrance at this point, but not really much else. I guess it's nice to find it now before you're over in the Ether Tablet area.
Yeah, and you see Kyraeu really playing it safe here by just intentionally dropping into the pits for the top and bottom chest. It's definitely the easiest way to do the laser skips, not the fastest, but if you can just knock out Laser Bridge with this little health in one go, which Kyraeu was able to do, you don't feel too bad about it.
Absolutely, and especially with no weapon, it can be quite annoying to get past that beetle. And we do see on Skele's side that is, in fact, the hook shot there on that lumberjack spot.
Yeah, so both players know about that. We just weren't paying careful enough attention when Kyraeu saw it. So definitely the hammer to hookshot sequence is going to be very interesting. Alternatively, in the event that a connector spits you out at hammer pegs, Skele can get that hookshot right away with the mirror.
Oh yeah, that's definitely a big X factor that could be out there. You're not likely to get connected to hammer pegs, but it does happen. And even if you don't, if we get the mitts and access over there, you could just have the regular sort of mirror access to that spot.
Honestly, I think finding a connector is more likely than finding mitts and moon pearl before a hammer, but you
That
really
is
never
true.
know. For all you know, hammer's in hookshot cave, which I believe we've seen.
Yes, we did see Hookshot Cave. That spit us out on the laser bridge entrance. And I don't think Kyraeu has found anything of note over here in this Eastern Palace area.
Well, come on, you can take lots of notes in a book.
Well, yeah, but that was, I guess that's kind of in the Eastern area. Yeah, it's in the one outside of, not in the Saha Eastern area, but one entrance outside.
But yeah, this whole route is mostly pretty disappointing. You have an out-of-logic book, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah, so their runners are kind of running low on just regularly accessible Light World entrances at this point. We've got the South Shore sort of area with the mini Moldorm Cave and going to Ice Rock Cave, and then the dam that I don't think we've seen from anybody yet. And I think Kyraeu is probably going over to that Super Bunny you mentioned earlier because it's just 2 free items. Let's check the connector.
So, speaking of our out-of-logic checks, Skele has gotten the 7 items out of Paradox Cave. Got a lot of kind of nice, but not usually critical items. A cape, a mushroom, and a Tower of Hera big key.
Yeah, it is definitely nice to get the mushroom early in Crosskeys before you find the Witch's Hut, because then you can just knock it out in one go. So I would not be surprised to think Skele turned that in, especially since he knows that Hyrule Castle is over there and can check that connector. So he'll probably go over there, not like eagerly, but at some point in the near future.
Yeah, he probably has some preference to wait for a weapon so he can do some work in Hyrule Castle right away. Though Hyrule Castle's actually doubly interesting in this seed because you have to consider that it's possible that logically this is an Aga 1 seed to access Back of Escape. So you have to think real hard about stealing keys because you don't want to fight Aga 1 to access Back of Escape.
Yeah, absolutely. I honestly wouldn't be surprised to see at least setting up the save scum, grabbing the key, and then just getting the one in logic chest. Probably not actually do the save scum because that takes quite a lot of time and does not have much weapons to do it with, but you can set it up and then come back later if you find the Hyrule Castle's Maul doesn't show up and you get desperate on locations.
Well, Super Bunny Cave didn't have any interesting items for us. Honestly, I'm really thinking this mirror is critical. This could be quite the early edge for Skele.
Yeah, because if you think about it, like there's 4 mirror accessible entrances right now that we haven't seen. And if you think about how many other Light World entrances are there available, because generally when you're looking for the Moon Pearl, it's much more likely that it's going to be living in some Light World entrance that leads to a dungeon or a multi-item cave than be in one of the rare bunnyable locations, especially since we've seen a bunch of them already. Because like you can get hammer pegs with a spectacle rock bottom or Sig Kid as a bunny, but it's much more likely that you're just going to find the Moon Pearl in the Light World entrance.
And I mean, speaking of what the mirror gives us access to, Kyraeu just found the Death Mountain floating island. That's all of the Death Mountain just available.
Oh yeah, seeing that even makes it so much more likely because that just like tripled the amount of Light World entrances you can get to via the mirror. Because now you got the whole Light Death Mountain top and West Death Mountain. So that's an incredible amount of value once Skele gets there.
Yeah, and I mean, even on the, I guess, lower key side of it, I mean, the Moon Pearl could just be the item on the floating island itself.
Yeah, very true.
So Kyraeu's getting our check of the Ice Rod Cave area. Most runners really don't like coming over here without a glove, but with the connector to Mini Moldworm Cave, I think the situation did call for it a little more. Though
Yeah.
absolutely nothing. A fortune teller and a tavern.
Yeah, and I think it definitely made a lot of sense for Kyraeu because he doesn't have that many Light World entrances left, so it makes a lot of sense from his perspective to check those. But you got to wonder, like the desert connector that he saw, that's got to be somewhere pretty close to on his list of things to check. So he'll probably be getting that mirror kind of soon.
Yeah, for now he's checking what I think are his last just basic Light World entrances. They're out toward the desert. A little extra efficiency here because Kyraeu does have the book his first time in the desert, so he'll be able to check the desert main entrance. It's not in logic, but that's not going to stop him.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely nice because if you don't have the flute, you have to like save and quit out of that entrance when you go in. So it's really nice to get on the end of the route. And we're going to see some new checks here from Skele over here with using the mirror from these locations to get 2 extra entrances we have not seen yet. We've seen a dark room here. Looks like Skele is scouting it out. That might actually be the old man ascent there.
Yeah, we were hoping to see these entrances, and we really didn't see that one.
Yeah. It looked like he got hit by the bomb and hardly moved, which is a telltale sign of the old man ascent. And
yeah, for sure, rescuing the old man would be pretty appealing with what Skele knows right now, but he's not going for it, so
maybe it wasn't that. Because I think that if it was that, you do it. Though it is nice to find Ice Palace there at Spiral Cave. Spiral Cave can be quite an annoying entrance to get to, though these runners will probably get to it. Because it looks like Kyraeu will get bottlenecked by the mirror, and then we'll want to check that location.
Though Kyraeu knows a path to the summit of the mountain, it could be pretty easy for Kyraeu to put that off, actually.
Yeah, it really depends on how you check the drop-downs, because there's 2 different mirror locations to the drop-downs. Because like when you go up there, you're going to do the Fairy Ascent Cave first, because it's 2 entrances rather than 1. But if he goes to the Laser Bridge Mirror Point or the Old Lady Mirror Point, he'll get to check those.
I mean, honestly, what I would do in Kyraeu's position is I would go up there, and then after checking the top of the mountain, I'd just walk to the western mountain. That's so much more dense than any drop.
I agree. But if you did go over there, I think you would do it through one of the... I don't think you've seen the Hookshot Cave Laser Bridge, but you would do the Old Lady for the Mimic Cave entrance as well. Yeah, we're seeing some more covering of people's tracks. Kyraeu's made it all the way over to the one of the last drop downs. We still haven't seen the Sank drop down because neither of these runners have gloves, and they know it's going to be either Magic Bat or Ganon. Which Magic Bat's not useless for Kyraeu because he's got the powder, but you need a glove anyway to do anything over there.
It is kind of good to know if it's Ganon, because if it's not, then you know Agatu is required, which is a pretty big deal. But I guess
absolutely.
It's not really urgent information at this point in the seed.
Yeah, for sure. That's what I was thinking, is that, like, it's definitely something you want to know. Like, once you find GT and you have to know, okay, is the climb something just automatic, you do it whenever you can, like whenever it's convenient for you, or something that you may or may not have to do.
And yeah, another Sphere Zero powder Magic Bat behind one of the Aga seeds.
Yeah, I mean, so now you're going to have that a little bit in the back of your mind for the rest of the seed. Especially with the GT Big Key being in Link's house.
We found 2 GT Smalls as well, so there's a lot of signs pointing at that tower we have not located.
Yeah, who knows? Sometimes it shows up in like the middle of the seed and has all of your items. Sometimes you see it like very early and just get the 2 items that they come back a lot later. And other times it's like, okay, I'm 2 items for go mode, and there's 27 items in GT. I just got to find them.
Yeah, Kyraeu's really just checking these connectors in what's turning out to be the worst possible order. He needs to get over to Desert and get his mirror, but he's doing every other connector first, which you could argue it's a strategic mistake, because he knows there's an item in Desert, and he knows he can't get any items in the rest of these, but he's certainly getting a much heavier punish than you usually would for this decision.
Yeah, and the other thing is Desert's right next to a save and quit, so that's fairly nice to get back to.
Looks like Skele's about to turn in the mushroom. I like that play. We still haven't seen the potion shop, and the potion shop can be in some horrible places you never want to backtrack to. Nothing feels worse than putting off turning in the mushroom, going on a long walk, and at the end of it finding the potion shop.
Oh yeah, there are some absolutely awful spots. Like we find it in the pod entrance. Like that's just bad. You never want to go to that entrance twice. So very nice. You don't know, especially with the powder, it's completely free. But even without it, you don't ever think about saving for fake powder when it's this early and can just knock out the turn in.
So Skele is making a move toward the back of Escape. Like we said earlier, this is a seed where you really have to worry about the whole key stealing situation. Kind of looks like Skele's setting up for a death warp.
Yeah, I would not be at all surprised to see him collect this one chest, which is in logic, and the key, and then put off the decision whether or not to save scum until later. Though it would be a bit of a long play to go through and try to do the save scum right now. Though with the sword, it's not as bad.
Yeah, in all honesty, this is a near perfect setup. You've saved with the key and the sword. You just check the back of Escape. If it's nothing, you hard reset. If it's something good, you keep going. Though Skele is choosing to do it the other way around and just check the Zelda cell area immediately, which I guess that's valid too.
Yeah, I mean, because it's kind of like, on the one hand, like there's more items in the back of Escape, so like you're more likely to find something that you want and want to save scum. And kind of the worst case scenario when you set up the save scum that way is you find something you like in Dark Cross, and then you want to reset this key because back of Escape's garbage, but now you have to go back to get the Dark Cross item.
Kind of the risk of this, though, is like if there's value in both the Zelda cell area and the back of Escape, and the key is just nowhere to be found, you have a rough situation on your hands. I never want to fight Aga 1, but I don't know, maybe the risk is worth it.
They do already have one of the Castle Tower small keys, so that's my opinion the worst part about doing Aga Tower, is that those Castle Tower smalls are very good at hiding, and you never want to go on a long hunt for those if you don't have to.
I mean, climbing Castle Tower, it's like a 5-minute cutscene. It's pretty rough.
It is not fun, for sure.
And that Ice Palace small key, it looks like Kyraeu is is considering saving and quitting. Skele surely hard resets an ice small key. That's nowhere near enough value to keep.
Yeah, for sure. We saw him set up the save scum, so yeah. I don't think Kyraeu set up a save scum, so I think he's just going to have to live with what he got.
Yeah, so whenever Skele checks the back of Escape, that's a big deal. Now, it doesn't mean for sure Kyraeu's committed to doing Aga 1. Kyraeu could also just find the sewers key, and then it'll be fine. It'll actually save time, because ice small keys, while not really required for anything, can be real-time saving.
Yeah, especially if we have something like a required hammerless ice dip with the Cane of Samaria, because then you can do the icebreaker strategy and get through the locked door. That's where it really shines. But you don't ever want to do hammerless ice, but sometimes it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, and I mean, even if you do have the hammer, like, it can save you walking around to hit that stupid crystal switch, which I don't think anyone likes hitting that crystal switch. I don't like hitting that crystal switch.
Oh, no.
Oh, Kyraeu got lost in the Dark Cross area, so we still don't know what that item is. Or, no, according to our tracker, he did get Sankart there.
Yeah, kind of an inconvenient spot to get Sankart if you're trying to set up Death Warp out of there.
Yeah, though, given that Kyraeu didn't have anywhere obvious to go from there, I don't think that's really so bad.
Yeah, he already knows where those connectors take him, so it's not as valuable as it would be for... Skele has not seen them yet. And here we're going to see Skele do the Death Mountain, so we'll get to see a lot of new entrances and a free item.
Hey, it's the other ice key. You gotta kind of be laughing if you're Skele and find that there.
Very quick map check. Looks like Ice Palace is a crystal there.
Yeah, that's a very early map check. You don't usually see runners map check so early in the game that they don't really have anything they can do with the information, but good to know, I guess.
Yeah, and at least I believe Skele has found Ice Palace, so it does make at least a little bit of sense in that regard. Now he knows if it's going to be a Pendator crystal.
Skele's so eager for Western Mountain, he forgets to check the Light Summit entrance.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's just a mistake.
Yeah, for sure. You're not going to do the drop downs, but you do want to check that one.
Especially because Skele's already checked everything the drop downs lead to, so that's a super orphaned entrance from his perspective now.
Yeah, you're going to probably not want to go over there until you want to check the Turtle Rock entrance, I guess. And he already did that.
Yeah, he's going back now. I'm going to be
Maybe
honest, I don't understand the route. This might be he made a mistake and realized it mid-walk.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. We'll see if he goes back to the... Because sometimes you get caught up because, like, you want to mirror as early as possible normally, but you can't because you don't have the hammer. You have to walk past the hammer pegs with the mirror. And I think that's kind of what happened. And finding Ganon's tower, so that's definitely a good one that he remembered to go back to.
Yeah, we can't really do much of anything with the tower right now. We don't have a bow or a fire source to climb. We don't have Samaria for right or hammer for left. But we have gloves now and just one of the 2 free chests.
Yeah,
so
really
that's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, especially because there's a glove-locked entrance right out here that was going to be fairly isolated if you didn't get it right now.
I mean, it's still going to be fairly isolated because you can't use the glove without the pearl.
Oh, that's true, yeah. But definitely nice to get that. It is kind of a bit unfortunate because they've already gone to... I don't know if Skele actually made his way to the Ice Rod Cave area, but they've gone past some of the glove-locked entrances already. But definitely nice to get it early.
Yeah, it's definitely a little pesky, but you feel better having the glove than not having the glove for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, Kyraeu found the dam in Swamp Palace, so we've got a little bit of a reversal of how we normally see the world.
Yeah, and that's kind of like doubly annoying because you could full clear that dam with Super Bunny and a mirror, but without it, I mean, you're doing this whole long bunny walk. Just, I feel like Kyraeu's overlooking Desert Palace as a possibility and is just really getting punished for it.
Yeah, because like whenever you have to bunny walk over to this archery game entrance, you're not feeling good. And there's the second glove up on Death Mountain, so we already have our Titansmiths.
So, like, I kind of was dismissive of the possibility, but we're a Moon Pearl away from picking up that hook shot.
Do we have any way to get over there yet? Oh yeah, we have the mitts now, Zilly, so now we can just lift up the rock. Because we don't have any way to get there yet, but I mean, once we get the Moon Pearl, we will.
Yeah, it's actually funny. So often in Crosskeys, the logic expects you to take convoluted connector paths to reach various sections of the Dark World. You can overlook just conventional Dark World access with the portals.
Yeah, or even the rare required Aghanim 2 for like, how am I sequence breaking the Dark World east side right now? Oh, because Aghanim is required for access to this area.
Well, the logic actually won't require you to do Aga 2 for that. It will require Aga 1, though.
Yeah, because you can't, like, you would have to go all the way back up the GT climb, unlike Aga 1, which you can still use the portal.
Yeah, and actually, when the logic was written in the first place, it was totally non-repeatable. You got one free trip to East Dark World, and that was that. At some point, they added you can redo GT climb to get back again, but, I mean, no one... That's like the most unreasonable thing I can imagine requiring.
Oh, yeah. I mean, do we still have the required get Ganon to Phase 3 to get to required mirror-locked Hyrule Castle entrance? That's pretty funny.
Yeah, we totally do. You're probably never going to see a runner do it, but the logic accounts for this.
You would have to have something really crazy, like Aga 1 locking something and that leads to the mirror, but you have to do the Hyrule Castle entrance, like Mimic Cave and Hyrule Castle entrance with mirror somewhere locked behind Aga 1.
But I mean, honestly, doing the first several phases of Ganon is faster than a GT climb.
Yeah, that's very true. And Kyraeu found the big key to Thieves Town over in that Aga Tower entrance, which is locked by the book at this point, though you may be able to get over there with the mirror, especially with having the mitts already.
Yeah, we're quite unclear on whether Thieves Town's a pendant or crystal. With what we know as viewers, it's about a 50-50, but that's definitely one of the keys it feels pretty good to find.
Yeah, because it locks more than just the usual big chest plus boss that you'll see from other big keys. Also, Skele found the Misery Mire entrance over here on Dark Death Mountain as well, so good to note for that. Can't get in there because no Moon Pearl, no Hookshot, no Boots, but just good to know that's there.
Did Kyraeu manage to get to the second chest in Castle Tower? His movement there kind of looked like he didn't make it, but I wasn't watching closely.
Our tracker's saying that it looks like he did not make it, so...
Yeah, that is definitely kind of difficult movement, but it always feels bad to make a play for a chest and then just not have it go your way.
Yeah, for sure. It's not in logic for multiple reasons at this point, but you're over there, it's an annoying entrance to get to. You really would like to have gotten it.
Yeah, and as long as you don't have to fight Aga 1, if you were able to get the chest, then you know you never have to come back. So, really the only thing of note that Skele got off the mountain were these mitts. Now, mitts themselves unlock almost nothing. Actually, I think with what he currently has, they unlock actually nothing.
Yeah.
But there are the glove entrances that are made available.
Yeah, the first glove ends up being a lot more useful a lot of times than Crosskeys, unless the only access to Mire is Flute plus mitts. Because otherwise you get like Smith Chain and 2 entrances.
Oh, the old man rescue's of value. This is just, even if it's out of logic, this is just so overwhelmingly convenient from Skele's perspective that you just gotta love to see it.
Yeah, for sure. That gives us our first access to a lot of bunny walks, which is probably not the #1 priority. But the nice thing you can get is that you can get to the mirror locked entrances if you wanted to go there right now. That looks like Skele's going to actually save scum that key, or he wants to check the back of the old man first.
Yeah, Kyraeu, oh man, he's bunny walking to West Dark Death Mountain. Kyraeu has to have just forgotten about Desert Palace at this point. I can't understand making this check before just checking out Desert Palace, but...
Yeah, it's 2 connectors and an item, so definitely more value. And the back of the old man leads to Skull Woods, which it's not terrible, because if the Skull Woods layout is bad, you can get there early, and now you don't have to worry about that entrance. So it's not a great access, but it's nice knowledge.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. And speaking of knowledge, which may or may not be nice, Skele's going to read our pedestal.
And yeah, not going to get anything out. It is a little bit interesting to see him not check the Skull Woods entrance, at least check to see what it is.
Yeah, especially because Skull Woods in particular, you don't even necessarily have to Death Warp. Your good friends, the Wall Masters, I think everyone's favorite enemy in the Zelda series, will just turn you back into Link right away.
Yeah, they're nice for that point only, and then otherwise quite obnoxious.
Man, they warp you back to the entrance even if you don't have the mirror. They're always looking to give you a hand.
That's true. All right, so Kyraeu has made his way over to Desert. So this is great for him. He's going to get that mirror. Not going to feel great for sure, because you know your opponent could have just gotten this in 5 minutes or whatever, but definitely will feel good not feeling so stuck anymore.
Yeah, this is honestly a massive feels bad moment for Kyraeu, but like the one relief is that at least you're making progress again.
Yeah. And we'll see, because like he just knows he needs to go to those mirror entrances. Gonna probably see him go up to the mountain, get the 2 gloves, and be just a couple minutes behind what Skele is at. But there's plenty of time in this race to make up time. Crosskeys has a lot of decisions to be made.
Yeah, Skele's totally just kind of going through, checking all the glove entrances, down to the last one. It's entirely possible Glove isn't the answer at all here, and you just need to take the mirror to the race game area.
Yeah, because we haven't seen K45 or Race Game left, and those are both generally, like I said earlier, Moon Pearl. It could still just be in like a Hammer Pegs Bunny Walk somewhere, which would be a bit annoying, but it's more likely that we'll find something like Thieves Town in one of those entrances that will give us a lot of items.
Our tracker Toffile also points out another clear solution. The Glove could be the progression, because you need to go and pay everyone's favorite fish.
Yeah, and then you can, and normally you don't want to fake flipper over to Zora without the Moon Pearl as much because you leave behind the Waterfall Fairy entrance, but you don't necessarily leave it behind now because you can still check it. It might not, you can't do anything in there normally, but you can at least see what it is. And
yeah, and hey, we've seen the CAC restock hut, so you won't be instantly killed when you walk in.
And Kyraeu just found a connector over to that dark shopping mall area. I didn't see which one it was that took him there, but...
it was Desert Right.
Okay. Can't really do much over there without the Moon Pearl or the Glove, but at least you know that's over there.
Skele's made his way back to Castle Tower, technically out of logic because his cape requires block deletion in Paradox Cave, which was his logical access to book, but if you're already over in this general area, grabbing these two items seems like a pretty good call. We know he's at least going to be rewarded with the Thieves' Big Key. We'll see how the Dark Maze goes for him.
Yeah, and I think that Thieves' Big Key could come up. I mean, without the small, it only puts one extra item into logic, but I wouldn't be surprised at all to see these runners find a dungeon like Thieves' Town, because there's it could always be a multi-item cave like Sahasrara or Blind's Hut or Hype Cave, one of those ones we haven't seen yet, but it also could just be a dungeon that's going to have our progression next.
Skele got rid of the most problematic guard. The second most problematic guard is having a say, but oh, just a piece of heart.
Yeah, it feels good to get that out of the way, especially since he's got the save scum lined up and ready, so he doesn't have to do Aghanim for any reason now, so he's done with going over there.
Yeah, and really the big thing with that, it's like a piece of heart is a bad item in the sense it literally doesn't do anything for you, but it's good to know that you don't have to go back, because it's entirely possible Kyraeu at some point far down the line in the seed will return for that piece of heart, and it just doesn't feel great.
For sure. All right.
Kyraeu about to get his first glove. Probably going to get a pretty good laugh out of getting two gloves back to back.
Yeah, it's kind of funny how frequently that happens in Crosskeys. Normally it's like an hour and 40 minutes in when you've only got the glove locked entrances left where you find both in quick succession, but nice to get them early like this.
Yeah, Skele about to check more of our Paradox Cave connectors. This is totally out of logic, but I don't hate it. It could easily put you somewhere convenient.
Yeah, because like you mentioned, it's not in logic, but it's likely to take us to the Dark World since we've seen so many Light World entrances, and in fact, it took us to a pretty nice entrance for things we can check. And it might take you somewhere that is in logic, which is convenient to get to. Though this stuff, not in logic right now, because we don't have the flute, and that's connectors not in logic.
That is a very vanilla Mire Shed.
Yep, looks like Skele's going to use that mirror to set up the Super Bunny glitch to get the two items in here. Might as well while you're right here. Using a little trick where if you hold up left while facing, you can't enter most doors while facing left, so you can get right on the pixel and then just press Y and up at the same time.
Mire Shed very slightly better than vanilla contents. We got a whole heart container.
Here's Eastern Palace. I think it would be a hard dip, I think, at this point, because that's not in logic. It's already, a lot of runners already don't like to dip Eastern, and if it's also out of logic, then probably no.
It is kind of in a bad location to return to. Like, I honestly can see the arguments both ways. I don't mind not dipping it here. It's a little bad to return to, but you have so much else to check. If I see another connector cave in the Mire area, though, as I'm checking that out, I'm going back to Eastern.
Yeah, that's a very good point, because there's like two scenarios for how that Eastern Palace could get in logic in the near future. We could either find the flute, which would give us access to it, but then we can get back here quickly, so you don't want to check it. However, if you do find another connector in the Mire area that's an in-logic connector, like it could even be somewhere in the Dark World that you have to take a long bunny walk to get to, then this could also be in logic from that, and then that makes the Eastern dip a lot more appealing. Because you don't want to go too far out of logic when you're still looking for your Moon Pearl like this. Going out of logic still makes a lot of sense in a lot of places, but you don't want to go too long without the Moon Pearl like that.
Okay, Paradox Top is the funniest thing we could find. That actually hard confirms Mire, well, it confirms that everything in Paradox Cave is logically behind the flute.
Yeah, I mean, we still got that one more connector to check, but most likely.
Yeah, I guess I was discounting the possibility that Dark Agha's Cave could be another connector, but I mean, the seed wouldn't do that.
It is, but it's a one-way one.
Not quite gonna do it for them.
So this is, yeah, all these items, Spiral Cave, Paradox Cave, Eastern, they're all locked by the flute.
Yeah, which, I mean, that really just gets you thinking if you're in Skele's position, because flute coming soon, and then that leads to Pearl and Eastern is certainly a plausible sequence. But then again, like you said, you can get back there so fast if you do have the flute that you're probably not too worried about it.
Yeah, I think the only worry is that now the flute's just not actually required, because we just checked all the entrances that the flute unlocks, but I think it's still worth the risk to leave Eastern behind.
Yeah, and I'm kind of surprised Skele hasn't made his way to the race game area yet, because he's just running out of really good checks, and kind of feels like he's doubling back on some areas a lot.
Yeah, I agree. I think that at this point, he doesn't really have that much left. So I think he hasn't done really any bunny walking yet. So I think you just have to bite the bullet and pick a bunny walk, maybe that one from the top of Bumper Top if you want to do more bunny walking, or you can take the one over in Hyrule Castle if you just want to rush those mirror locked ones.
Looks like he is opting to go for King Zora. There's really no other explanation for him coming back to this area. And that's not awful. Zora's in logic. You can get the out of logic hobo and waterfall checks as well. So that's just a little extra convenience. You're a little annoyed because you could make 2 checks by landing on the island, but you'd get stuck.
Yeah, well, we won't be able. There's no way they'll be able to collect that waterfall ledge item with their loadout. So hopefully, for their sake, it's not anything. And we're seeing Kyraeu electing to use that bunny revival glitch to finish out this Skullwoods. It's not going to be the bad Skullwoods layout where the front is in the back, but still wants to just grab these items. It's also nice to grab the small key, because if you they've already found the back of Skullwoods, but if you find yourself over there with a fire source, you'd like to be able to beat it.
With the connector coming out of Skullwoods Final, is there really a bad Skullwoods layout?
I mean, the worst one is when the back is in the middle entrance, but yeah, it's the bad one. Is the one that you always don't want to see is the one where the front is in the back.
Yeah, I'm just saying, in this case, with the connector we have, things are just a little different, you know?
Oh yeah, I agree. I see what you're saying. I thought you were talking about the connector from Skullwoods to the other side of Skullwoods.
Yeah, it looks like Kyraeu's gonna wrap up the skull checks while Skele is gonna pay our favorite fish.
And there is a key
a
up
small
there.
key. That's just not really what you want to see, because the odds that's important aren't great, but it's certainly on the table.
Yeah, especially if that's something like the Thieves Small. And then we see the bow on Kyraeu's side. That'll be a nice find. We haven't found anything to really do with that bow yet. We haven't found Palace of Darkness and Eastern. Like, you can't get to the bow locked part without the big key. But those keys can be very annoying, because it's something like the Thieves Town Small. You're probably just not going to pick it up. You might come over and pick it up if you're short pod keys or something, or you're looking for the
Without lamp, we have something to do with that bow, that's for sure.
Yeah.
The good news for Kyraeu is that logically this bow and lamp are both behind Moon Pearl. You are probably not finding Moon Pearl in Upper GT. But
Yeah,
you're a
it's
little
never fun.
spooked that as soon as you do, that goes into logic.
Yeah, those first 2 chests of GT that don't require the hook shot or the small keys in the climb, they are always a terror.
Where did... It must have been some sort of bunny walk. Kyraeu has a 1 more GT key than Skele, but I can't really think of much other than bunny walking that Kyraeu's done that Skele hasn't.
Yeah, I can't remember where he got them. Oh, that was the Old Man Ascend Cave. So that's really surprising that when Skele was over there, he didn't do that the first time before he found the other way over to the West Death Mountain. Looks like Skele's making his way over to Hyrule Castle, which tells me he's probably going to want to do those mirror lock checks because the Hyrule Castle left will drop him off at Hype Cave.
He might be planning to head straight to the back right now as well.
Yeah, it's true. While you're over here, he didn't get that lamp, but it's with the sword, it's not too bad. And you can just mirror out on your way out and check the connector, so it makes a lot of sense. Oh, our tracker's saying Skele doesn't even know about the Hyrule Castle left entrance, so maybe it'll be a nice surprise for him. That would actually make a lot of sense, because then he has the Bumper Cave entrance connector to get to the mirror locked entrances, but otherwise doesn't have any way to get there.
Yeah, I've been surprised he hasn't just used the old man save and quit to go there straight away, but I guess he doesn't know that there's a logical path to that, so that probably just makes him less eager to check those entrances.
Yeah, because that's all locked by the lamp specifically. So that's actually Moon Pearl locked. But I mean, that doesn't necessarily mean those entrances are all Moon Pearl locked. It does. The top one is the one that he's already checked but the other could be like a connector or something to get up there.
Kyraeu having a epic battle with a Pokey and comes out victorious.
Not a nice reward though. And Skele is going through the dark part of the sewers. The little bit of water really makes it quite easy to track yourself, even if you don't have a sword here. The main issue can be key wrap being annoying.
Yeah, and with Bow and a lot more health, Chomp Room's going to be just a little simpler for Kyraeu than it was for Skele, but not a bit more rewarding.
All right, we'll get to that. If there's anything in the back here for Skele, then it's really going to come... It could be huge for him if that Hyrule Castle small takes a while to show up.
I'm going to throw it out there. I don't think Kyraeu's going to miss those items.
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, I guess Skele gets the advantage of peace of mind of knowing for sure that he doesn't have to get that, but definitely not going to be happy about those items.
I mean, if you choose not to steal the key, you're really betting against those chests. You're not going to rush to do Aga 1 to check them early. That's the kind of play that doesn't make sense. And, yeah, it's going to work out great for Kyraeu.
Yeah, I agree. I think the only time you would think about going back there is if you get the Hyrule Castle small. And we'll see if Skele elects to use the Super Bunny glitch here to pull the dam and collect the items. We have found Swamp Palace. We don't have any flippers to even do anything in there, and we still need the small to do much in there, but it's definitely nice to pull this. Don't have to come back to Swamp Palace entrance again.
And given that you're right here by the Drain Dam, you can just mirror and get the Drain Dam item immediately. It's not in logic, but you still want to have it.
Oh, and unfortunately not using the mirror deletion glitch as a bunny. Maybe he doesn't know you can pull the dam as a Super Bunny.
Yeah, that's a little bit of a mistake. For anyone unfamiliar, the rules are actually quite simple for what Bunny can do. If you're a normal Bunny, you can only walk and use the mirror. If you're a Super Bunny, you can do everything Link can do that doesn't involve the Y button.
So there's the Ether Medallion on the Bombos tablet. So I don't think we'll need that because we found the Mire entrance and Quake Medallion was our Turtle Rock entry.
Yeah, so... And Skele actually knows both those facts already, so he knows that's a completely useless Ether Medallion. Actually, that's arguably the best thing he could have seen there, because he knows he doesn't have to come back, and now he knows he'll never have Ether clogging up his Quick Swap.
And looks like we're going to have a bit of convergence here, because Kyraeu is making his way over to the Graveyard Ledge, or K45 plus Race Game, and I'm sure Skele is going to head over there once he checks this Bomb Shop entrance.
So with the lamp, Kyraeu could have popped by and killed Mothula, ultimately elects against it.
Oh, here's Sash Rala. So this is 3 items that are all in logic. Would not be at all surprised to see the Moon Pearl back here. Gonna have to take a rain check on that shovel and see if maybe that leads to the Moon Pearl. Finding a Pod Small as well is nice too.
Yeah, Skele having a little bit of blue mail woes trying to get this Death Warp in back of Skull. Not always a good thing having a lot of health and a lot of armor.
Absolutely. You hate it when you have to do something like take a Death Warp out of Dark Cross with 14 hearts and red mail. And we find the Ice Rod on that shovel spot, so an important item, but most likely not going to be our progression. We would still need to find quite a bit of things for that to actually help us.
Oh, there was that other GT small key. It was in back of Skull, so that answers that minor question we had.
All right, so race game left. Let's see what this one is. This is definitely looking like it should be something for us. Ooh, the fairy and the flute. Okay, that puts the Eastern in logic. So
yeah, it's... Man, if Moon Pearl's an Eastern... Like, that's... For how long Skele's been walking around, that's gotta feel a little bad, right?
Yeah, this would be a major win for all the Always Dip Eastern people if that ends up being the case.
And, like, honestly, despite how Kyraeu just had a blind spot for that Moon Pearl, for that mirror for so long, the gap is basically completely closed. Skele's cleared out Paradox Cave, Kyraeu's cleared out front of Skull. That's about an even trade.
Yeah, it's definitely, it's like I was saying, like there's so much to do in Crosskeys and so many decisions to be made that it's really easy to come back from either a unfortunate decision or bad luck or execution flub.
And speaking of little things that can be unfortunate, let us observe that Skele is sitting at 0 bombs. That's not a problem right now necessarily, but running out of bombs can become a crisis in a hurry.
So we'll get to see, Kyraeu will get to see the 2 Paradox connectors, or only the one actually, because the other one's the Mire entrance, but won't be able to do anything with them as a bunny.
Though, as long as we assume that Kyraeu is going to find and dip Eastern Palace here, it would be strange to nope out of Eastern with Kyraeu's knowledge of the situation.
Yeah, I agree. I
It's gonna, like, it's not guaranteed the Moon Pearl's in there, but it's sure likely.
Yeah, I mean, you could find the hammer and lead to the hookshot, which leads to Hookshot Cave Moon Pearl, but yeah, definitely looking like either something imminently that leads to the Moon Pearl or the Moon Pearl itself.
Yeah, there aren't even really that many options for intermediate items leading to the Moon Pearl at this point.
Yeah, basically boots for boots, locked entrances, or hammer for hookshot. Like, there's just not that much left.
Flippers to access the Capacity Fairy Island, maybe?
Yeah, and you can even have something like Kana Samaria for Turtle Rock Front till the one chest, but it's much more likely that the Moon Pearl is in there because it just gives so many more other possibilities for the rest of the seed to where it makes sense.
Oh, excuse you. You mean Kana Samaria for GT Tile Room.
Oh, no. And actually, Cane of Samaria, it's that. Oh no, because the Moon Pearl can't be in the Crystal Roller room via that way, but you could get there with the lamp and the cane from Laser Bridge. But our lamp's Moon Pearl locked. And yeah, like we were expecting, Kyraeu realizing that there is not very many options. It's a very easy decision to dip Eastern here because there's just not much else you can do. And let's see where Skele is going to elect to go now.
To answer the sort of meta question in chat, I would say the person who is second to go mode wins a very small percentage of the time. It's got to be under 10% of the time.
Oh, especially in Crosskeys.
Yeah, because Crosskeys has a very short go mode. Like, the most common go mode in Crosskeys is you find your go mode item, you kill one dungeon boss, you go and do the Ganon fight.
Yeah, it's not like the standard modes where you could even find like your go mode item, because you don't need to find any like pesky big keys or anything. So you can sometimes go mode a couple of dungeons and then have to clear out GT. So there's a whole 15-minute go mode, whereas Crosskeys go mode's like 3 minutes.
Fun fact, the idea behind Crosskeys in the first place, one of the biggest motivations was just much shorter go modes.
And there it is, Moon Pearl and Eastern Palace.
I'm sure someone is surprised by that, but probably not very many people are surprised by that being there.
It was certainly the odds-on favorite for what we were going to find in here. And yeah,
the big question here is, do both runners have the presence of mind to go straight to hookshot?
That's a good question, yeah. That would be a good play, I think, because you're not always thinking about getting that entrance via the mirror. So you have to be, okay, I know that hookshot's there. I want to get it. Also, I have access to get it now, so let's go.
Yeah, I mean, with Flute especially, honestly, you pick up Smith, return Smith, go, grab the purple chest, get the hookshot, return purple chest, have a hookshot in your bag. I think the purple chest return is next to Hookshot Cave too, so that's a very clean route. But yeah, certainly from Kyraeu's perspective, the immediate move is to finish checking the Mire region. Can't possibly fault that decision.
Yeah, and something that could happen is that he remembers Paradox Bottom. You can just clear out Paradox Cave when you're done here, get the items, and then walk out the bottom. You're right in Kakariko, where you can go to the Village of Outcasts area.
Yeah, though I would expect Kyraeu to probably check that connector and discover that the Mire entrance is of no value.
That's true, yeah, and then get spit out there. Can't get out.
Yeah, I mean, with Flute, though, returning to CAC, it's a nothing.
Yeah, it's free. So actually, I forgot about the Spiral Cave. You'll definitely want to take that. You'll get Paradox, and you'll, like you said, check the Mire connector, and then just walk over that Spiral Cave.
That literally dumps you in Smith House. It's going to be very convenient.
Yeah, because if anything, it'll just jog your memory, like, oh yeah, I got to get that hook shot. And I wonder, so Skele has already cleared out this area, so we'll have to see where he elects. He's going to rush that hook shot or just go into the Dark World via the Old Man and check everything. All right, so now with that Moon Pearl, the seed really opens back up again. We'll get to see a lot of the entrances we haven't seen.
Our friend the Murderdactyl had to remind us all that he is definitely Ganon's highest paid minion in this seed.
Yeah, the blue mail, while often annoying, is quite nice for that particular situation there, not getting too damaged.
Yeah, what would you say Ganon's most valuable minions are? That Murderdactyl's definitely one. The Red Guard in South CAC after kills, but do you get knocked at all for the fact that you're actually helping Link?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's why I don't know how good the performance metrics of Hyrule are. All right, and Skele has found Blind's Hut, which is a nice, quick 5 items up here. I believe this is the Dark Lumberjack, right?
It's somewhere in the area. It might be Dark Sank.
We see simultaneous shield grabs from our runners, with Kyraeu getting the one from Spiral and Skele getting another one from Blind's Hut. Oh yeah, it was Dark Sank. So yeah, it looks like Skele is not going to rush to that hook shot. And I mean, I guess it makes sense as long as you don't forget about it, because like they're probably not going to imminently do the hook shot. And as I say that, they immediately get somewhere where the hook shot's quite helpful.
I mean, it's not that big of a deal. You have the big key.
Yeah.
Go upstairs.
Yeah, it's not actually that much faster to Harapot in this situation if you're going to clear out the chest, as long as you can do the bomb jump and clear out the beetle room quickly.
The more annoying thing is you found Hera in a pretty bad location and you don't have a fire source.
Yeah, and they even have the small key today. And meanwhile, it looks like Kyraeu is going to go make his way over towards that hook shot, hanging out in Village of Outcast, found Ice Rod Cave over in the Thieves Town entrance.
I just really want to reflect on the suggestion that Ganon's MVP is the Sky Cabbage. Imagine being at like a performance review at a job and you find out the employee of the month is a rock.
I mean, I'm sure some of us have been at jobs where rocks would be improvement over some of the employees. But then it's kind of like the question of like, are all of the enemies or Ganon's minions? Because like Dead Rocks, they seem to just be kind of doing their own thing. Like they just live there and they turn into rocks.
I mean, if Ganon's minions are supposed to block Link's path, they're certainly fulfilling the job description. I also really like, I'm going to call it the lack of ego on Skele's part to just use the cape to kill Boldorm. It doesn't really cost any time, but it's just something a lot of players wouldn't do, and it makes the fight very safe.
Yeah, Fighter Sword with no boots is not an easy Boldorm fight, because a lot of the tricks you like to use, you can't, and you gotta hit him so many times, so yeah, I agree.
And yeah, it looks like Kyraeu's doing exactly what I was talking about. Return the Smith, grab Purple Chest, grab Hook Shot. It's just very efficient.
Oh, yeah. You get a lot of not even... Like, Purple Chest can sometimes be annoying to get back to, but this is the freest time to do it. And then you get over to Hookshot Cave, get those 4 items. So that hookshot also gives us access to Misery Mire, though, without any keys of any kind or the cane. There's not too much in logic, but it will be at least on your mind a little bit, because I'm pretty sure both these guys found that dungeon.
Yeah, I can't imagine Green Pendant Misery Mire as anyone's #1 priority in this situation, but you definitely keep it in mind.
Yeah, they've still got a lot of other stuff to do, though we've seen most of it and haven't found anything too interesting between the two runners, at least. We found 2 5-item caves, but nothing too crazy. We'll see if Hype Cave breaks the mold. That's a Turtle Rock Big Key. That's pretty good.
We have seen the Turtle Rock Big Chest entrance, and there's the Desert Palace Small, so we have a lot of little possibilities that are entering logic all at once. And I would like to point out that, again, we can climb, and now that we have the Moon Pearl, that's in logic.
Yeah, Moon Pearl, 3 smalls, and the hook shot. So, like, there's still the hook shot requirement. It's more of a peace of mind thing. It doesn't, the Moldorm chest is in logically a 4, but you really don't want to climb without that hook shot. You're going to do it all if you can do any of it.
Yeah, this is going to be pretty good for Skele, getting that bow and that lamp. Going to bring our runners to rough parity. I think Skele is a little more world clearage, but that's about the only difference.
Yeah, Skele's done a lot of North Dark World that Kyraeu has not done. Though it's kind of hard to say who's ahead right now, I'd say.
Yeah, I probably slightly favor Skele's position, but it's close. Like, nothing's very decisive right now.
Yeah, I think the Skele has like the back of escape and Agate Tower second chest. Those are some annoying things that Kyraeu is gonna have to worry about. Not gonna want to go check them at any time, but a little bit of mental anguish to deal with.
Honestly, just having walked into more doors, it's not the most exciting thing, but it's a form of a lead.
Yeah, because we're going to see Kyraeu spending the next few minutes just walking through doors we already saw on Skele's side, especially if he elects to clear out Hero like you would expect.
Yeah, and that is going to be a major opportunity for Kyraeu to gain an advantage of his own, because if Hera basement is important, that could be very significant to how this race goes.
Oh yeah, I can't imagine Skele wanting to get over there anytime soon, because even if the only thing over there is the King's Tomb, but you're going to access that from the Light World most likely, because they already have the MIPS. And these runners both can now clear out Skullwoods. It's not in logic without the Fire Rod, but they don't. They know it's a red crystal, so it might be worth it.
Yeah, the Skullwood's clear. Like, it's almost never in logic when you do it, because logically it requires all the small keys, but pragmatically you don't care at all.
Yeah, and also like something that isn't as immediately obvious is that if it's in the Light World, even it requires the Moon Pearl no matter what, just because it's you can waste keys in the Skullwoods Dark World.
Yeah, because it requires all the keys, and that includes the static key.
Yeah. So never go to Module looking for your Moon Pearl.
Though it's not always bad to go to Mothio when you're looking for Moon Pearl. Not because you'll find it, you won't, but just because it's likely a crystal.
And we saw Skele pull off that bomb jump to get the big chest for Turtle Rock, which is nice. We know that that's in logic via getting the hook shot, but if you can just grab it right now, why not?
Speaking of why not get the Crystal Roller Room chest?
Yeah, that's a good point. With that big key, you can just walk through to that. But you'd have to... Or wait, no, we don't have the cane yet. Oh, no, never mind. Sorry, that would be one from the back.
Yeah, that feels like an oversight, and it could be a dangerous one. Like, if that is the Cane of Samaria in that chest, I don't know when Skele goes back for it.
Yeah, that chest can be quite polarizing, especially because you can be required to walk back from Laser Bridge to get it sometimes if the cane shows up, and that can be a bit of an oversight. So you've definitely seen that chest itself come up pretty big in some races.
Well, the map of Swamp Palace is probably not going to be decisive. At least it's a useful map, though.
Yeah, it's a map that's not Hyrule Castle or DT, and we don't know what it is yet. So, especially if it would hunt on one of those pendants, could be helpful, but most likely not going to save the time to spend it. It looks like Skele's going to finally make his way over to get that hook shot.
I see Skele's gone a little further south with his mirror portal. Kyraeu, I don't believe, actually did Dig Game or Stumpy, so Skele might be putting a little more priority on those two spots.
Yeah, because they're pretty sufficiently orphaned at this point. They've done all the mirror checks over here. There's really no reason to come back in this area. That's one of the annoying parts with the seeds where you do the long bunny walks like this one, is that if you ever bunny walk to archery game, it just feels so bad to have to walk back for Stumpy and Shovel Game. But at least this one, they have decent time to route it in. We see Pod is a pendant with that map check.
And we saw some crystals. Like, was that a Thieves Town crystal we saw?
Yeah,
it was really quick.
Yeah, Skele has done. I can see why he does the map checks as frequently as he does, because he does them so quick that it's fine to do them. But yeah, these runners are starting to run a bit thin on options. We haven't, I don't know, they can get to the one entrance more in Dark Shopping Mall. We don't have any way of getting to the Palace of Darkness area yet. Though, or no, we do. It's called Defeating Aghanim. So that's actually in logic right now, because we have both the Castle Tower, unless the Castle Tower small key was out of logic itself.
I don't think it was. This is totally a seed. You just kern jump and just treat it as logic. Because
yeah, absolutely.
Killing Aga 1 for East Dark World access, you don't want to do that at all.
Well, no, you never want to do it, but it is nice to know when it's in logic, because right now they have options like Pendant Mire and doing the GT climb. But so if you don't think that the East Dark World is in logic, you might want to do that, because you might be skipping the hammer, for instance, if you go over there. But if you know that it's in logic because you can beat Aga, then it prioritizes the check a little bit more.
So Drain Dam was just $5, but it's an errand off Skele's list. I do suspect we're going to get a moth fight very shortly here.
Oh yeah, it makes a lot of sense. If you get something nice, then that's just an advantage, and if not, you get a crystal. And it's not, the bomb jump is pretty easy. It's Fighter Sword Moth with no Fire Rod, but they've got Blue Mail and 11 hearts, and I think they've got at least one potion too, so it shouldn't be too bad.
Though it looks like Skele's getting cold feet on it. It's not, I don't hate leaving Moth behind either, just because like, the fight's very doable with this current equipment, but you will probably have better equipment for it later.
Yeah, you'll definitely be able to do it faster with even a Master Sword or a Hammer, or really anything, because the 8 Fighter Sword spins or 16 slashes is just, it's not quick.
On Kyraeu's side, we saw no punishment for Skele leaving behind that Crystal Roller Room chest. It's just the Mire map. And here we're getting the double back. Skele's going to get purple chest and pick up the hook shot. Kyraeu's going to do Digging Game and Stumpy. I mean, Hookshot doesn't, to answer the chat statement, Hookshot doesn't help at all in Back of Skulls, so even if he did just remember Hookshot, I don't know how it would really change that decision.
Well, I think one thing, sometimes when you've got Hookshot with leaving 4 items, sometimes, and you've got like a boss like Mothula that will improve greatly with a few items, you can just hope that you get items. So the one unfortunate thing is that he loses his mirror portal that was right by Skull Woods. But like, you maybe think, okay, maybe I get a sword in Hookshot Cave or the Fire Rod or something to make this fight a little bit easier. But unless you're going to hit him with keys, it's not really going to help. We know that we get a big key. There's, I believe, another big key in the Hookshot Cave as well, though it looks like he's not going to go there. All right, getting a little bit longer of a map check. We got Thieves Town, Swamp Palace, and Ice Palace as regular crystals, and then that Pendant on Pod Mire we saw earlier. So I think knowing Swamp Palace is a crystal is good information here, because now you know if you need the flippers or not.
Yeah, between both runners, it looks like our only question is the last crystal desert or Turtle Rock?
Yeah, and at that point, if you're ever in a quandary about that, both those dungeons are actually quite quick to complete in this mode. So if you can complete them, you'll just do it.
Yeah, it's really just a question of which is hard required, the Fire Rod or the Desert Big.
Yeah. And also,
actually, funny enough, though, Kana Samaria is not hard required in this seed if Turtle Rock is a pendant.
Yep, that's correct. We might still need it for something in GT, but it's also possible we don't need it at all.
Speaking of GT, we see Skele going for a Kern jump here. Would you be tempted in this game state to just climb GT right away? Because you get the items in upper GT and you use it as a way to go to East Dark World?
You know, it's certainly, the way I tend to think about that is like a discount, a temporary discount on that check. So now, how would I make this decision if I knew I could suddenly do Ganon's Tower climb 1 minute faster? I think with the climb, I probably wouldn't, because it's, if it was Cackwell behind the climb, I think I would, but the climb is just such a long commitment. They are running low on other things to check, but I think I'd more likely just go over to the pod and catfish area and hope that that's the progression.
I'm going to be honest, I'd probably do it, but it's one of those decisions that definitely can swing the race one way or another based on what you do.
Yeah, for sure. Because the thing about the climb is, though, it just takes so long that, like, it's a very high risk. But it's good item density. It's just that it's a big commitment.
Yeah, we see the Meyer big key in Desert Right, which was one of our remaining loose ends. Turns Meyer into a somewhat more lucrative loose end. Just one more check when you go there.
Yeah, and since it's a pendant, you don't even know if you're going to need the cane to beat it. So that's one of our few options that we have left from what we see on the runner side. We've got these entrances and stuff that Kyraeu is going to. Though this pod is another thing that was available. So I'd want to check out what's in here for sure.
This is a place where pendant crystal knowledge is a really big deal because you have 4 small keys and the big key. What checks you make here, I think, are really obvious. You leave behind the boss and you do everything else.
Absolutely. It's very nice to know pod as a pendant in this particular situation. You're coming here without the hammer with 4 small keys. You just go in here, clear out basically everything, and then hope you never have to come back here.
Yeah, because the boss is by far the slowest check in pod. I think the slowest 2 individual checks in the game are killing Helmasaur King and killing Vitreous. So it's just a really nice thing for you to just be able to prioritize stuff like the big key chest over Helmasaur King.
Yeah, absolutely. You get to do a nice route through pod that goes the most efficient way, gets all the nice checks. And so we're seeing, another thing of entrances we're going to see over here on Skele's side is we mirrored on top of the pyramid, so that gives us 3 more entrances. Also going to get to use that cape there. Mimic Cave up there, hopefully you don't have to come back here with the hammer.
Yeah, that is definitely a fairly obnoxious place for Mimic Cave to be, but if you do have to do GT Climb, at least you get a discount on the return.
Yeah, now that Climb is actually, we've got Climb and Meyer, both are pretty good. I think you do Meyer first because it's got almost twice as many items. I guess it's only 7 versus 5 because of Magic Bat today. But the Climb and Meyer, and then we've just got like a few more entrances left in the pod area as far as what these guys can do.
I think we have the entire pod area proper.
Well, okay, yeah, I guess I was extending the pod area. We have all 4 of the entrances in the pod area.
Well, that reduces it to 3 in a hurry. The connector on top of the castle dumped you out at pod. Convenient.
Yeah, not a bad thing to see. You're gonna have to spend 10 extra rupees for Kiki here, but you get to save the 100.
Skele carefully avoiding damage, but he really needs to walk into one of these enemies.
Yeah, save yourself the text box.
I guess you can just do this cave first. That's also a solution.
Yeah, I've never actually left the screen with Kiki before like that. I always just get rid of it.
So it doesn't look like the mushroom was required this seed.
Nope, no, definitely not. And Kyraeu's made his way all the way over to the rupee room of pod. I guess he did. I thought he opened this chest already, but I guess not. So haven't seen anything too nice. Meanwhile, Skele found Thieves Town, which that's a decent amount of items for us. Only 5 of them are going to be in logic without the small key, though I would not be all surprised to see him beat it. There's the big key of Skullwoods, which is a glorified fetch quest at this point.
At least you have a save and quit that's close. That can easily be much worse than it is here.
Yeah, for sure.
There's everyone's favorite item, the red meringue. So I gotta say, Pod wasn't too lucrative, it doesn't seem like.
No, really, we haven't seen. I think the best thing we've seen so far is that Turtle Rock Small, and that's not even that good. There's a small key to GT in Thieves Town, though. Now I'm starting to. I would definitely be thinking about that climb now. Because I think at this point, like, he hasn't found Pod yet. I don't know how much he wants to rush over for that one dark shopping mall entrance. But he's got you know about Meyer, you know about the GT climb, and they're both. I mean, they're not super close to each other, but they're both on Death Mountain. And
yeah, actually getting back to GT, I believe, requires taking a connector. Getting back to Meyer does not. You can just flute to one.
Well, they have, yeah, because they can have the mirror to get to Tower of Hera, but they can't hammer across. So yeah, they would need to take that top of Death Mountain connector. And Skele is going to do the back of Thieves Town. It's not in logic until you have the Thieves Town Small, though it could be in logic if the Thieves Town Small is in the, it's either in the big chest or blind cell. Because blind cell.
I mean, the blind cell chest is in logic. This chest here isn't, and blind's item isn't. But
yeah, it would have to be unless you do. I can have the rare key locking itself, just like in standard modes.
Yeah. That's actually the funniest thing that can happen because you'll never know it went into logic.
Yeah.
Though, fun fact, in this case, I would actually not put it into logic because they don't have the hammer.
Yeah, that's true. All right, we're going to look at this Hookshot Cave entrance while Kyraeu. We'll see if he's going to go to the GT Climb or to Misery Mire.
I would feel really bad taking this connector over here and then not climbing, but that's just me. Hey, there's a desert map. From chat's perspective, that'll tell us all the remaining pendants and crystals.
All right, there's a Master Sword over there in Blind Cell. Definitely nice to find, but not going to give us any sort of logical progression. I mean, I guess if we haven't seen Ether Tablet yet, I guess, so maybe it could.
I think we saw Ether Tablet.
Yeah, maybe we did. I know we did Bombos for sure. Oh no, we did do it, yeah. It was rupees. And yeah, looks like Kyraeu is going over to Misery Mire, which is 7 items. It's not terrible to get with the extra small key as well. All right, we'll see what other than a crystal we're gonna get from Blind today. Just 20 bucks. So Thieves Town really didn't have too much. We did get the Swamp Path or the Skullwoods big key in here.
Some in the business call items like that delayed disappointment.
That's a good way of putting it. But yeah, we definitely could be in a situation here where one runner chooses Mire and the other one chooses the climb, and it really sets the tone for where this race is going to go from here. Because definitely an opportunity.
Well, Kyraeu's already chosen Mire, so.
Well, yeah, but I mean, Skele could choose the other event. Because he doesn't really have much else at this point. He just got that one entrance in Dark Shopping Mall, but it's pretty much.
The funny thing about it is that, from Skele's perspective, the value of climbing has gone down because he's kern jumped.
That's true. I can't remember if there was anything over here that didn't see the first entrance, but the other two were nothing you could do. Oh, did he not check the desert, the ledge?
Gonna be honest, that's kind of a big mistake having to walk back here for that. Though we learn that Turtle Rock's a crystal, therefore neither runner has enough individual knowledge for this, but desert is a pendant.
Yeah, because I think that Skele will get that desert map at some point. I don't think he'll ever get the Swamp Palace map. All right, I think this is Hookshot Cave over here from Skele. I don't think he ever got those 4 items. There's the Desert Palace Big Key in Misery Meyer's Vanilla Big Key chest. That gives us... We know where the desert... all the relevant desert entrances are, so we can get the big chest and the land moles item.
Yeah, technically you need the 3rd Meyer key to put that into logic, but Meyer keys are usually not your top priority. Of course, now, in terms of the GT climb, alarm bells have to be going off for Skele now, because that's the last GT small key for him.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, whenever you get those 4, because now if you only had the 3, then you can only get 3 checks up there, and then Meyer, it's like 7 versus 3. You're thinking, okay, it's shorter and there's more items, but now 5 versus 7. Who knows? So there's that big key of Eastern Palace, which could give us 2 more items in logic.
So Kyraeu doesn't know for sure that Eastern's a crystal, but like if he has the Eastern map, I don't know if he does or doesn't. That's a really just free 2 checks. There's no reason not to do that.
Yeah, super quick to get to. If he has any way of knowing that that's a crystal, though I think he got the desert map. So I think he does know.
Yeah, he'll be able to learn that way when he sees Desert's a pendant. Whether he has Eastern map or not, he'll know by elimination what the remaining crystals are.
The Meyer Big Key, I believe, was in Palace of Darkness.
Yeah, so finding Palace of Darkness is actually critical this seed for the big key to Pendant Meyer and nothing else.
Well, no,
nothing else that we know of. It maybe
because
drops it.
The big key of Meyer led to the big key of Eastern, which is a crystal.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. The big key for Pendant Meyer is the only valuable item in that dungeon, and it's required.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I missed the and it's required part. And looks like Kyraeu is following that Desert Palace big key. You're gonna find out that it's just a pendant today.
I'm going to be honest, there's a bit of a disaster scenario for Skele here. If he elects to go and clear out Meyer now, that Eastern big key could become a big problem.
Yeah, I agree. I think he's going to pod right now, so he'll be able to save himself from that. But yeah, that would be pretty devastating if you go to Meyer for 6 items, which is still a reasonable play. But you just don't ever you're not going to go back for that big key anytime soon.
Oh, never mind. Meyer Big was in Desert, right?
Yeah, I guess it was right.
Pod really didn't have anything. Yeah. It had a Turtle Rock small.
Yeah, so I guess the crisis averted there of not having to orphan that big chest in Meyer. Kyraeu is showing us Ice Rod, Land Moles is a little bit harder than the Fire Rod. The timing is just a little bit different.
And Skele's about to pay his time tax here by finding Pod and getting a whole lot of nothing out of it. Kyraeu gets a very concerning item in the Bombos medallion.
Absolutely.
Could do Hammerless Ice right now.
Hammerless, Caneless Ice without the big key. There are some checks and logic in there. They're not fun ones, but they're there. I would definitely want to do the climb before those ones, though, I think. Though it's kind of, well, for Kyraeu at least, because he hasn't gone to Pod yet. Pod area.
To answer a question in chat, yes, you can do Ice Palace without the Fire Rod. The Bombos medallion is able to melt Freeze Ores and also Cold Stare Shell. And in the vanilla game, as far as I know, that's really the only reason you would ever use the Bombos Medallion.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a nice little spell that you can use, but no dungeons are open by it.
Yeah, I mean, you can use it to nuke enemies, but Ether tends to do the same thing with a faster animation.
Yeah, there are a few enemies that will be frozen by Ether, but killed by Bombos, maybe. But they're not even killed that fast because they have to go through the burning animation.
And I mean, being frozen, if you're just playing casually, is better anyway. You hammer them and you get magic.
All right, Kyraeu making his way over to Eastern Palace. Going to just get those 2 nice items on the way to this crystal. Because having gotten that Desert Palace pendant doesn't need to do any map checks. He now knows full crystal information.
Yeah, this is just an absolutely free play. The odds this is progression are relatively low. Not zero, relatively low, but there's just no downside to it. I think it's very important as you try to continue advancing as a rando player, and certainly these 2 players have, given that they're in contention for brackets. You always want to look for checks that have no downside. Even if the upside's low, it's just free. You're giving the seed an opportunity to let you win.
Yeah, absolutely. And especially in Crosskeys, because like a lot of times in Crosskeys, you're kind of trying to play and think at the same time. And when you're doing something like this, where it's just, okay, I just do Eastern Palace and get 2 items, and you have a nice little time to maybe think about what you do after it, because this is something you're going to have to do anyway. And it's never going to get really better or worse with that flute. It's not even in a bad spot. You don't have to worry about routing it in.
Yeah, like the only thing that would save any time at all would be the silver arrows, and it's not enough to really worry about. Like, how much time do silver arrows really save on Armos Knights? Like 5 seconds?
Yeah, I guess you could save a little bit of time with the boots too, but we're talking like 40 seconds total on the dungeon between silvers and boots. But if you get a nice item here, you'll save a lot of time. There's no reason that silvers or boots couldn't just be in. But I think definitely that climb, it's coming around now, because we got Hammerless Ice from what we haven't seen yet, and the climb. I can't think of too much else that these runners can get to. Maybe a couple of one-offs.
Kyraeu just barely missing the Red Armos skip. Doesn't really cost a very significant amount of time. Cost a few arrows. I think he'll live without them. And there's another crystal on the board.
Yeah, so we can kind of start thinking about what are these runners going to need to finish the seed. We need the Fire Rod to beat Turtle Rock. We need the Swamp Small to beat Swamp. We need the Flippers and the Cane of Samaria, because we need the Flippers to beat Swamp, and the Cane of Samaria to beat Turtle Rock, and we also need the Hammer to beat Swamp and Ice Palace. So still got a decent amount of items left to find.
Yeah, and it's really likely some of these items cascade. Like, you find the Hammer, and that leads you right into left side GT, and that could easily have everything else.
Yeah, I think you feel pretty good if you find the Hammer sometime soon. It would have been nice if they had found it, like, say, Misery Mire, because then you just go to Ganon's Tower, you clear out the left side of GT. If that doesn't give you anything, you can go clear out Ice Palace, I guess, at least for Kyraeu, because he has the Bombos Medallion, and then that's a lot of checks to do, too.
And Skele's about to give us our Skullwood's Big Chest check, while Kyraeu is almost certainly setting himself up for a GT climb.
Yeah, there's nothing else you can do in GT. Kind of we're going into the Dark World equivalent instead of the Light World one here, but he hasn't been to the pod area. This gives him an express trip to the pod area. It's looking likely, especially from our perspective, that the climb is going to be required today. So definitely going to go in here right now. And like you were saying, like this could be a really big play for Kyraeu, because the Skele really hasn't made any progress since coming out of Mire, and it's looks like he's going to get pushed back here eventually.
Yeah, like, I actually think at this point the situation's kind of reversed. I think Kyraeu is clearly ahead, because from what we know, aren't the only possible remaining plays Hammerless Ice and GT Climb, and Skele hasn't made either of them, and Kyraeu starting on one of them.
Yeah, and from this point, Skele doesn't even know he can do Ice Palace because he hasn't got that Bombos medallion from Desert yet. So I definitely agree that for right now, it looks like Kyraeu's got a decent little lead going on. Looks like Skele's going to go into Mire, and there's not really anything too interesting there. The Eastern Palace Big is nice, but nothing that's going to break you free for progression.
I mean, you feel good finding this before you have something like the Hammer, just because it's really easy to get, really forward in the progression of the seed and just leave Mire behind until this is your go mode. So you don't feel awful diving a pendant dungeon and coming out with a hard required item to beat the game, even if it's not your progression.
Yeah, I think it's actually especially nice when it is a big key, because those can be anywhere. So if you find a big key that's required in a pendant dungeon, you're definitely feeling good about your dip in there, because who knows what else you would have done had you not found that there.
There's Kyraeu using some solid I have half magic and I don't care strategies, just kind of bombos his way up the tower. This is a pretty long animation. This is definitely not the fastest strat. It is, without a doubt, the most consistent strat.
Yeah, Ether Medallion is the one you really like for this, but they're not going to go all the way to Bombo's tablet to get that.
And for whatever reason, the original developers decided Quake was just not going to be very good.
Yeah, they figured that making Dead Rocks transform was all the power that anyone could ever need.
To be fair, that is quite a bit of power, but you can also do that with the magic powder.
Yeah, and these Bombos, you can definitely agree with them because you have half magic and fighter sword. Like the fighter sword, you don't even have hammer. I mean, you can use the bow a little bit, but it can be quite annoying. You can get a bit out of hand, and he's kind of low on health too.
Yeah, it does make me think that maybe he hasn't, I guess, put in all the time practicing GT climbs with almost nothing. To be fair, outside of Crosskeys, like, would you ever have to make the GT climb with this level of equipment in standard modes? Probably not, right?
Yeah, you'll get that rare 5% of seeds where you're in sword go mode and you're doing the climb, and it was a relatively fast seed, because Blue Mail 12 Hearts isn't too bad. You'll sometimes see like 7 Heart Fighter Sword Green Mail climbs and Crosskeys because the Moon Pearl's up there.
Yeah, although of course in standard modes, if you had to climb, even with Fighter Sword, you'd probably have like the Fire Rod and the Cane. You have the boots, which the boots make the climb a lot easier in a lot of different ways.
For sure. Like that one room with the red Zazzix, you just hit the first one into the spike and then dash through and hit the other one into the spike. It doesn't matter what sword you have.
That looks like a little bit of awareness from Kyraeu as well. Well, Quake is mostly just the worst medallion. It kills Wizrobes as well as everything else.
Yeah, Bombos would kill them too, but it's a longer animation than Quake, so definitely makes a lot of sense there to use Quake. Because when you don't have the Canis Maria, those rooms can be a bit annoying. You can do some quick bow strats with them, but the Quake is honestly going to be just as fast, especially if you're not 100% on those bow strats.
Yeah, like, I don't know that I necessarily love falling back on the Bombos as your solution for all the GT rooms, but for the Wizrobe rooms without the Cane, I mean, unless you're perfect, it's saving you time.
Yeah, because the GT climb rooms are actually just great rooms to practice, because if you're playing a lot of standard modes, you're going to do them every seed. So if you can save, I don't know, even 30 seconds, like it's just a guaranteed free 30 seconds because you practice a little bit more.
I guess that's the curse of Crosskeys that leads you away from practicing the GT climb. Okay, so we've started off with 2 chests that have absolutely nothing in them.
Yeah, normally that would be a bit of alarm bells, but since, I mean, Kyraeu does not have all 4 of the GT small, but we have so many keys that these ones are also, these next few are going to be in logic as well. Because those 4 GT small keys early, especially when you don't have hammer or cane, are it's a bit ominous that something, maybe magic bad even, is required. Because if not, it's really got to be hammerless ice.
I mean, in all honesty, even if this is not the answer, the fact that Kyraeu's getting a discount on these checks by, you know, comboing with checking East Dark World, and it seems nearly inevitable Skele's next play is this anyway, this is still going to work out for Kyraeu, even if it doesn't work out for Kyraeu, if that makes sense.
Yeah, just because this particular seed, you get down to a point where, okay, you got the Climb or Hammerless Ice Palace. Most runners are, like, a good percentage of runners are going to end up doing the Climb. So if they both do the Climb, Kyraeu's got the advantage because he got the nice little free trip to East Dark World with his Climb. Oh, look at that.
Big key to Ice Palace is maybe the single spiciest item that could have been in that chest.
Yeah, because, like, Ice Palace is not logically completable without the big key. So it does add one more check to Ice Palace. That's all it does right now because it adds the boss as well, but we don't have the hammer, so we can't get to the boss. But it's definitely nice if you're staring down hammerless ice. You don't want to have to go back in there because you have to do the Climb for the big key. So we got, like, hammer and Ice Palace big chest or something. You definitely will be glad to have gotten that first.
I'm also going to throw out, this is, I don't know if you feel the same way. For me, this is always the part of the race where the nerves always go up. We're hitting 145 on the clock. This is the time when the very strong runners start filtering in some .duns. You know, the ones who got all the right routing decisions and just kind of picked everything right. So I would expect just the nerve level of both runners to just be continually increasing as they're starting to look at that race time and know there's actually a real chance that, oh, if the hammer was in some easy place, maybe my opponent just found everything really fast and is about to finish.
Yeah, for sure. Because, like, both of these runners have made, they got somewhere where they were feeling a little bit bad about the decisions they made. Like with Skele put off Eastern Palace. He could have been there 15 minutes ago, guys, his Moon Pearl a little bit earlier. And Kyraeu put off that mirror for a while. So you don't know, maybe your opponent got a nice little advantage off that and was able to cascade it into even more.
Kyraeu probably rolling his eyes a little bit at that bumper cave connector, but honestly, assuming he routes this in a logical way, that's actually just going to work to his favor.
Yeah, because it would be, if he had already cleared out the pyramid, it would be super annoying. Because you want to jump down into Magic Bat after that. So he mirrored here, check these, and then jump down into Magic Bat, and then you'd go over to the pod area. But now he's going to go up and collect the item and then walk back up and see that connector takes him right to pod.
And all in all, that's going to be neutral or even advantageous on the routing just because he won't have to walk toward pod that way.
Yeah, it's going to be a nice little bonus. Instead of walking to pod, you walk through Bumper Cave. And you don't have to do the long trek to the pod itself. And there's the hammer on Magic Bat. So the climb was the answer today. Hammer on Magic Bat, even when the bat's in a different spot, it's still a terrible troll.
So yeah, that's a very big deal. And there are a lot of relatively easy decisions for Kyraeu here. Full clearing Ice Palace is probably the easiest decision in the world.
Yeah.
Wait, but Kyraeu hasn't found Ice Palace.
Oh, yeah, that's true, because that's over in Spiral Cave. I'm wondering, and that's the thing, is like he's gotten, I don't even know if he's done any of the drop downs yet.
Yeah, though, he can, is it actually, like, has he really not gone back and checked the Mimic Cave entrance and such?
Yeah, I don't know, because they were getting pretty bottlenecked where those would be a good option. Though I think Kyraeu would get a little bit less bottlenecked because he got the mirror was his bottleneck, and then he started making more steady progression. And it looks like Kyraeu electing to not take that Bumper Cave connector, but in the long run, it's not actually going to be much of a deal here.
I will throw out there that I don't believe Kyraeu went back and checked Mimic Cave as well with that hammer.
Oh, yeah, that's true. It's kind of like you find that right there, and you're like, oh, this is a terrible spot to come back to. I never when I made the hammer. And then you get the hammer, and you don't adjust your plan quick enough. And looks like Skele is going to Ice Palace.
This is gonna really hurt.
Yeah, because like we already know the hammer's behind GT, and also to add even further insult to injury, so is the Ice Palace big key. So there's multiple ways. Even if dipping here to get some nice item is helpful, it might be in the big chest.
Kyraeu has to get a little chuckle out of learning that most likely, logically, Aga 1 is required.
Oh yeah, because that GT small key is right there. I mean, the logic. How does that? Is Magic Bat logically locked by Aga 1?
I mean, the thing is, the logic would expect you in the seed, unless flippers are available somewhere that we've missed, and I don't think they're going to be. You have to beat Aga 1 for East Dark World access, to get into the Thieves' Town, to find the last GT small key, to beat Ganon's Tower, to get into Magic Bat.
Yeah, but I'm wondering, so like, even if that small key had been somewhere else, the logic has to account for the fact that you could beat Aga 2 and then not do Magic Bat and go somewhere else and get locked out. So like, you still have to beat Aga anyway, even if that like, because I was wondering, does like the Aga, that pyramid hole isn't in logic if you don't have East Dark World access, right?
Yeah, that is also true as well. Though in this case, I guess it's just more straightforward because the key's blocked.
Yeah.
That is a correct point. And actually, honestly, that's like important anyway, because what if you cleared upper GT without powder and that was Magic Bat there, and then you find powder later?
So yeah, we still need a decent amount of items. So there's definitely still places where Skele could make up some time, but you got to be feeling good for Kyraeu here, because having done that climb and not having to do this sort of double dip of Ice Palace that we're gonna have to see Skele do.
Yeah, really the only like nice thing I can say for Skele's situation with this Ice Palace dip is at least the hammer and the Ice Big are in the same spot.
Yeah, true. And I wouldn't be surprised to see some sort of progression in Ice Palace, because, like, I guess the GT, no, I forgot about GT left, because that's probably the real spot where you'll find a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, Ice Palace isn't an awful place to look. The checks that are available to Skele so far have certainly not been very thrilling, but there's more to this dungeon than just these. But GT left's also very big. As soon as you find Swamp Small, that instantly becomes a treasure trove as well.
Yeah. And that could just be sitting in left side GT, or it could be literally anywhere. Though we also need flippers, too, to get in there.
Yeah, those flippers, I think, might matter a little.
Yeah, and speaking of flippers and keys, we still have that key on Zora Ledge, and it is, like you said earlier, it's not likely to be anything, but when we start to see how many keys we've got, it's actually pretty likely to be something, because it's looking like that's either the Thieves or the Swamp Small. It could be one of the two Pot Smalls, but we're up to like a 50-50 that's one of the more unique keys in the game. I guess we still got like another Turtle Rock and Mire Small, so it may be more like a 33% chance, but
yeah,
much
it's
better
two
than
more
what we saw.
TR keys, so yeah, it's still probably not Swamp Small, but yeah, every key you find, the odds go up.
All right, where is Kyraeu heading now? It's like going back to GT. So yeah, this will be a big answer for what's in the seed. And Skele is also heading over to GT, so it's like, what? So this makes it look like that Kyraeu is just like a full GT climb ahead of Skele here.
Yeah, Skele's done a couple things Kyraeu hasn't. Like, I don't think Kyraeu's gone to Catfish, but it's the things that Kyraeu has done that Skele is not feel more important right now.
Yeah, because like Skele is also dipped Ice Palace, but like Kyraeu's just gonna go over there and full clear it, and Skele still has to full clear it, so it's not really an advantage since there wasn't anything in there.
And yeah, like with what we have left in the seed and what we've seen between both sides, it is still possible for left side GT to be Baron, but it is very unlikely at this point. There's almost assuredly at least one progression item here.
Yeah, at least the flippers or something, because like if the Kane's not over here, then we're not going to find anything in right side GT. And if we don't find the Swamp Smaller flippers, like we're not going to find anything in Swamp. So then there's just like the few checks left in Ice Palace, plus some other isolated one-offs, maybe a few entrances like Hammer House and Hammer Pegs we haven't checked yet.
Well, there's a Meyer Small continuing to add just small bits of extra value to Zora Ledge.
And I don't think, did Kyraeu ever actually go to just Zora yet?
No, he didn't, and that's actually a big deal, because even if Kyraeu goes there without flippers still, Kyraeu has the bow. He can just Ancilla fake flippers and hop right on down to that key.
Yeah, and speaking of small keys, the Thieves small key was in there, and that was actually in logic because we've had all 4 small GTs.
I'm going to be honest, if I'm Kyraeu, I don't feel bad at all about that Thieves small key, because it's very hard for me to imagine a player who does not clear lower Thieves Town before finding that there.
Yeah.
Speaking of finds, there's a Cane of Samaria. That's a pretty significant item.
Yeah, because there's like 2 possible scenarios. Either you sequence broke East Death Mountain, East Dark World, and did Thieves Town there, or you did what he did and you beat GT, and then you're not going to leave that area that you can't get back to easily. Though I guess with the hammer, maybe you would. So I guess there's a world where you get the hammer and this go immediately back to GT, but probably not that likely. But yeah, that Cane is important, and flippers. So now we only need a few more pieces left.
Yeah, that combination of items does not let us clear any more crystals than we could already, but it certainly pushes us along. Kyraeu also could be facing kind of a big decision in that, do you do right side GT without the Fire Rod?
Yeah, I think that all just depends on how confident you're feeling about your ability to do the bomb jump, because the Swamp Small is like the main X factor. You're obviously not going to find the Fire Rod over there, which is one of your 2 remaining things that you need to beat the seed. But if you're confident in your ability to do that bomb jump, I think it's definitely worth it. You don't want to have to come back up here again, because there's really no other real reason to come up to Death Mountain again. They can check the Turtle Rock entrance while they're here, and then that will really close the book on everything up here.
Yeah, so that's definitely a thing to think about. That is a pretty high execution trick, and even if you're confident at it and you nail it first try, like, it's still not fast.
Yeah, so like with the Fire Shield, doing the actual bomb jump is not too hard, but without the boots, doing all the lighting torches is very difficult. It's a very tight timing, and you have to do, it's a big investment, because you have to go in to that top room and clear out everything, and then clear out the stuff in the room that you're doing the torches, and then set up the bomb jump. It's not quick. So I guess, and also the other argument to not do it is like Ice Palace is right here, though those things at least going to do tile room.
Yeah, though of course the other side of it as well is you're already partway there because you're doing tile room.
Yeah, so it's definitely going to come down to, okay, if you can do it consistently, then I think you do it here. It's a little, it'll cost you like an extra minute over checking it with the Fire Rod, but it will save you about a minute from getting back here.
And I mean, honestly, even if it's not required, if it's a sword or boots, it might pay for itself anyway.
And meanwhile, Skele making his way through the GT climb all the way over to Moldorm. Gonna get, it's a pretty agonizing items you get from the climb, because if you see just the Ice Palace big key here, you're definitely not feeling good having already gone into ice. But you'll feel a lot better once you find that hammer.
I mean, in all honesty, I don't know how much better you feel finding the hammer. You don't feel as bad as you do the moment you see this ice big key. That's,
yeah.
That is a panic item to find.
Oh, yeah. You're like, did I just lose this race right here? Am I going to have to go back to Ice Palace for a possible triple dip? And yeah, like you were saying, the hammer, you don't feel good, per se, but you feel better than, okay, it really wasn't the Ice Palace pick.
Yeah, and we see Kyraeu decides against doing right side GT. It's pretty justifiable. Not only is it hard, but even if you ignore fear-based decision-making, like, it's a 50-50 Fire Rod's going to be your go mode, and if it is, it's not there.
No, the surprising thing I see there is he didn't elect to do the Turtle Rock entrance. Now, I don't know, perhaps he's tracked, I haven't tracked how many single-item caves they have left out there. They don't have any multi-item caves left, but I figure why not just check it while you're up there.
Yeah, you're right about that, though maybe he's also feeling a little bit of temptation to try to do the whole comboing situation where if he wants to do the right side GT, he can check TR at that time.
Yep, good point. And yeah, so with what we've seen, the flippers give us a couple more entrances. The K and Samaria gives us a very small, like it gives us the front of Turtle Rock with one chest. But I wouldn't be surprised to see progression in some of these hammerlock checks of Ice Palace.
Yeah, and Mimic Cave very likely is going to be the first thing Skele does with this hammer, and I think Mimic Cave is going to prove to be one of Skele's biggest possible outs here.
Yeah, really good point.
Oh man, Skele does not remember Mimic Cave either, but does take a moment to express his severe displeasure at the location of the hammer.
You're never happy with 2-hour hammer on Magic Bat. So the first few hammerlock checks in Ice did not have anything of note. I guess the first one that we haven't seen yet, but we'll see the big chest, which isn't technically hammerlocked, but was locked by being next to the hammer, and then Cold Stare himself.
Yeah, it's not seeming implausible at this point. Ice is just barren. You don't feel bad full clearing Ice in this situation because you were able to single dip it. It's a crystal. But that does leave the question of what is Kyraeu's next play? Because, yeah, Flippers and Canis Samaria are great, but they don't actually open very much.
Yeah, I think I would probably do the Flipper entrances first because they're quick, and then you have a really tough decision because you've got a lot of not nice checks. You've got Green Pendant and Vitreous. You've got the front chest of Turtle Rock. I guess you probably do because it's not the nicest check, but it's one and it's not too bad. And then you've got like just a couple of other one-offs really. You got Mimic Cave.
Of course, as you mentioned earlier, Kyraeu hasn't gone to Zora River yet, and with Flippers that becomes very convenient. It even combos with the Flippers entrances, so if that's Swamp Small Key on that ledge, then this possibly could just work out very smooth for Kyraeu.
Yeah, that's a really good point, because the 10 items in Swamp are looking like prime locations for the Fire Rod, because we got GT still has 4 items left, but those are Fire Rod locked. They're not going to have the Fire Rod. And there's just not that many. They've got some single item caves out there. We know the pedestal's dead. They've got like Helmasaur King and Vitreous, but Helma's not even in Logic yet, so definitely
almost
looking
2
like
keys out of Logic too. You're like not even beginning to think about Helmasaur King.
Yeah, you probably got like one of those in Swamp and the other one right side GT or something.
I do like Skele's decision to kill Mothula. It's not in Logic, but I mean, it's easy to do. You know you have to do it. Get it out of the way. If it's Swamp Small Key, that tells you a lot about the seed. And even if it's not, it moves you forward.
Yeah, because like if you found the Swamp Small here and then did exactly what Kyraeu did, you would know that you can go mode Swamp because the Fire Rod's not going to be in there. And Kyraeu making his way through this Cold Stare fight. Didn't get them too bunched up, but was able to make his way through it. There's Small Key, and it's Turtle Rock, so baited, but that even increases. Man, it's really looking like that, what are we down to now? Like a 33% chance that one on the ledge is going to be the Swamp Small.
I'm looking at Kyraeu's tracker. Yeah, it's 2 pod keys in the Swamp Small. He's found every other key. And he doesn't even know there's a key there.
Nope, I'm sure he'll be happy to grab it when he goes over there. And I think, like we were saying, like you can he's got the 2 flipper locked entrances, which are nice on their own, and then you can just go over to the Zora area.
Like, he doesn't even know what's in the waterfall entrance. It's 3 entrances in his mind, even better.
Yeah, it looks like, I think this is just going to be a pedestal check right here, which with putting Vitreous into logic makes a little bit of... Oh no, he's going into Swamp, where the first chest is Swamp.
This is relatively free. It's right by his saving quit. It's very fast. If it happens to be vanilla, that's a really big deal.
Baited, not quite.
From our perspective, it makes key on Zora Ledge better yet.
Yeah, we got the 50-50. Like, when we first saw that key, it was looking like, yeah, I probably don't need it. And that's really bad for Skele, because that is a fairly orphan location. If you get to as many keys as Kyraeu does, I think you go back there, but you're definitely not going to go there any earlier.
Yeah, like, certainly when you're in the position where it's a small key for go mode, you go right back there, because that's a 100% chance of a small key, and anywhere else is less than a 100% chance of a small key, but there's still more items on the table.
All right, where are we headed? Oh, probably going to beat Skullwoods now, because he knows he's going to have to do that at some point.
And honestly, that moves him kind of toward the flipper checks anyway. It's a pretty free move.
He might even be thinking to combo Catfish in with them. Because otherwise you're going to pretty hard isolate Catfish.
Yeah, it's certainly hard for me to imagine he puts off going to Zora River until he does something drastic like return the Super Bomb.
And so Skele elected to go into Ice Palace right away, not doing GT first like Kyraeu did, so doesn't have the cane and isn't able to get through this a little bit quicker with the Icebreaker.
I like the decision, though, because the connector to get here isn't that slow, and for all you know, there's important progression in Ice, and you know you have to come here. You don't know you need to come to GT, and even if you do, if the cane's in Ice Palace, then you can do more in GT for doing Ice first.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I do think that Skele, having already done Ice Palace, may devalue it a little bit, but yeah, a really good point. You're going to have to do Ice Palace anyway. Because my thought process here is that, like, okay, I still need a lot for Go Mode. There's very low chance that left side GT is not required.
Yeah, I really think it's mostly just about leaning into the possibility that you'll need an item from Ice to do right side GT.
Yeah. Because it would be a bit rough if you have to go back to GT. It's not the funnest time to get there. And this Mothula being a little bit rude on Kyraeu's side, but has a lot of parts in red mail, so you can just damage tank and do damage boosted hammerheads. Shouldn't be too bad.
Yeah, the red mail won't reduce the damage from all these spikes, but it will reduce the damage from Mothula, which is kind of a funny situation. You fight him with green mail, you much prefer to get hit by spike than Moth. Blue mail, you don't care. Red mail, you prefer to get hit by Moth.
And Skele, luckily having a fairy here for this fight, so not going to take a cold stare death, which would be quite devastating.
Yeah, I mean, the only good thing you could say about a cold stare death here is that you have half magic and Vamos, so it won't be a problem to go back and do it again immediately. A lot of times a cold stare death is just like an auto GG, because you can't even go back, you don't have magic.
Yeah, it's really rough. Yeah, I think that Kyraeu is just going this route. He knew he had to beat Skullwoods at some point and wants to combo in the all the flipper checks using the mirror, save some time on this hobo check, and go up to Catfish, not orphan that location. Though I think if he knew about the key, he would rush to there, but there's no way to know that.
Yeah, this is overall a pretty efficient route. You kind of get the double upside that he was able to check Hobo with a short swim instead of a long swim. In fact, he doesn't even look like he's going for the catfish combo. He just didn't want the long swim to Hobo, which, honestly, I can totally sympathize with that.
Yeah, absolutely. With Skullwoods being where it is, it makes a lot of sense. Like, if you didn't have to go to Skullwoods for that, it would be kind of a bit of a head-scratcher, but with Skullwoods being there, it definitely makes a lot of sense.
Well, we were talking about guards that earn their pay. That green guard in the bush did his job for Ganon.
Yeah, it's not a good job just hiding on a random island inside of a bush, just hoping Link gets you, but I mean, I'm not a resource manager for the Ganon army.
So here's a mechanic that a lot of people probably almost never think about, but Kyraeu is probably thinking about right now. So how far you walk out of a cave is actually determined by which interior it is, and Checkerboard Cave, originally being under a rock, makes you walk out just a little bit further than other caves. That is why Kyraeu mirror bonked when he mirrored right after walking out.
Yeah, because you have that muscle memory from when you go into the Ice Palace entrance normally that you want to mirror immediately or else you will bonk, whereas it's not always like that, like you're mentioning. Some entrances will push you out too far.
Oh, man. Come on, dude. You only have 17 hearts. You sure you don't want another heart container?
Yeah, what if you take 5 Ganon hugs?
I mean, I don't know if the 20 heart dream's still alive for Kyraeu. If it were me and I still had the 20 heart dream alive, I'd grab that every time, but that's just me.
Yeah, I think there's a certain element when you have a seed this bad and you know your collection rate is high, you just fluff it a little bit. Try to get the 200 collection rate.
Oh, you've had some good seed luck in your time if 200's the worst you've seen.
Oh, it's not the worst I've seen, but it's like, that's the bar for like, you know you had a really bad time. There are definitely some high, almost 210s that occur.
I'm joking around with it, but let's remember, this is an elimination match. You're 210 in, you're 2 items from go mode. Like, it doesn't matter how much you love memes, you are probably not memeing anything right now. And oh my word, it's the pod key. We found literally every small key on Kyraeu's side other than Swamp.
Yeah, that's never a feel good. Those small, either the Swamp Small or the Castle Tower, they can... Well, no, we still haven't found the Hyrule Castle Small.
That's true. Kyraeu's got to be worried about that, actually. Because remember...
Well, he hasn't found the boots yet, so I think he's still a little off the hook. But I think I don't know how you feel about not finding... Because if you would have found it there, I think you go right to the back of Escape, and then you would feel bad. But yeah, if you had the boots, I think you're absolutely feeling bad. Because, like, okay, there's only 2 small keys left. So yeah, we've got a lot of not very nice checks left. We've got the Vitreous Green Pendant. Boss is now in Logic to beat. And I think those are the only ones I can think of off the top of my head. There might be some item cave in Hammer House or Hammer Pegs.
Or the Turtle Rock entrance, which neither player has done.
Yes, that's another one. But those are really the only ones I can think of that are in Logic and not checked.
Just with the sheer number of entrances left, all 4 Boots entrances, GT, and Pyramid Fairy as well, I think it's likely there's at least 1 item cave remaining.
Yeah, that's true. So, also, one thing that I just...
Oh, Mimic and Spike Cave, we're about to...
Yeah, Mimic Cave, we're going to see that on Kyraeu's side. Unless he forgets about it, because he's going to get... If he remembers that this takes him to the top of the castle and top of the castle's Mimic Cave, then he'll go right there.
I mean, at this point, with what Kyraeu has left, Mimic Cave is like the best remaining check he has.
Yeah, really. You don't want to beat the 2. You were just mentioning how the 2 longest single checks in the game are Patrius and Helmasaur King. And he hasn't checked Pedestal yet either, so that's still got to be on his mind, because now that it's in fully in Logic with that last pod small.
Though, given how easily you could have checked this right after getting Hammer, if this is important, it feels bad, even though we know it'd be great for Kyraeu.
No.
Well, that's important. A Mirror Shield.
Yeah, I mean, now Turtle Rock, or the Laser Bridge would be in logic. We didn't already have the other 2 invincibility items.
I mean, the Mirror Shield is just such a distinguished and important item in so many Zelda games. You just always feel happy to have it.
Yeah, now the Dead Rocks have to look at their own reflection when they're blocking you.
And I mean, you can always just like get hit by a Beamos and then think, you know, in other games this would have blocked that.
Yeah, it's kind of funny that that doesn't get blocked. I think the main thing that gets blocked by Mirror Shield, but not other ones, is the Mimics shots.
Yeah, which I find it really useful blocking the Mimic shots in 2 rooms in GT. It's not enough to justify this item's existence, but it's a little nice. Oh, yeah. I think it's Skele who has Hera Basement left. I don't think Kyraeu does.
That's correct, yeah. Kyraeu got the swamp map out of there, because he did Skull Woods out of logic and cut the Lantern Bow before Skele did. All right, Spike Cave, one of the last remaining checks that isn't a boss.
Whereas on Skele's side, we see the Turtle Rock entrance is absolutely nothing.
Yeah, so now in terms of entrances, we've got, there's the small key, that's the Hyrule Castle. So we did complete the full gauntlet of keys that are not the Swamp Small. And you gotta think, Kyraeu, that's one of his best checks now. So I think he's gonna want to go do that soon, especially since Hyrule Castle is right here. Yeah.
Yeah, and then he just mirrors out of the back of the castle, goes, checks Catfish. We know none of this is going to advance him, but he doesn't know that.
Yeah, it's a bit of a roller coaster, Small Key. Like, oh god, I hope this isn't anything because my opponent stole it. But this is also a really nice place to get this, and maybe this is 3 checks. This is my most dense location left. Maybe it'll be it. And my opponent's
you're cursing everything finding that small key, because you
yeah,
your opponent checked this more than an hour before now, and you're right about that fact. But like with what he has left, there's no possible way you can justify not doing this. You just have to hope your opponent got snagged on something else if this is the answer.
Yeah, because like you're 2 hours and 16 minutes in. This seed has been long, so you're thinking, okay, if this is something, my opponent's probably going to dot done in the next couple of minutes.
Yeah, but I mean, you do have a little bit of reassurance, honestly, as both players, but especially Kyraeu, given where Hammer was, you know that it's pretty likely most players are going to near full clear this seed.
Yeah, for sure. That's why you're thinking that we're at the X2 spot, so like 2 hours and 20 minutes is getting towards the longer end. So I think if you were to find something here, I think your opponents are going to be finishing soon, even with the bad Hammer.
But yeah, in terms of I'm running out of checks and I just checked the dense area and got nothing, that's some of the better feeling nothing Kyraeu is going to find tonight.
Yeah. It would be nice from the perspective of having everything you need to get it there, but not nice considering where it is. And we see Skele is about to get his disappointment about the key that he's known about for a while.
So, I don't know about you, but if I'm Kyraeu, my next play, I'd be really tempted to go straight to Meyer, though from an overworld routing perspective, Pod's closer.
Yeah, I think I would do Meyer first, because it's got the 2 versus the 1 item. Though he hasn't done Pedestal, so...
Yeah, though, of course, the thinking is, even if you haven't checked Ped, you need both for Ped, and you only need 1 for Sahas.
Yeah. And Chad asking about Ped, yes, it is dead. Skele checked it already.
Yeah, here we have Kyraeu going back for the check and chest and Castle Tower that he died on much earlier. And
yeah,
like I mentioned at the time, like even though it's junk, just not knowing that it's junk can eventually come back and cost you time later, and that's exactly what's happening here.
Yeah, we've gotten to the sad point of the seed where opening up Desert and going into Aga Tower for 1 item is actually his quickest check that he gets.
I mean, I think it would have been slightly faster for him to go via Dark World, but it's not that different.
Yeah. that book cutscene is quite long. And not to add insult to injury, with all this that the runners have done, they never got the boots.
I mean, for all we know, boots are still a required progression item, just deeper in the chain than we've gone yet. And in terms of leaving stuff behind, now we remember when Skele declined to check Crystal Roller Room when he checked Turtle Rock Big Chest, and now he's paying that time back.
Yeah, and it looks like Kyraeu is going to elect to go to Meyer. I think one of the other benefits of Meyer is that if you get the Fire Rod in here, the only thing that opens up is GT that we already done back to Skull Woods. I guess no, it's got the Turtle Rock the Turtle Rock's got what 3 items now with Trinex and the Torch Room.
Yeah, though if you find Fire Rod here, fair to say you're awfully tempted to go to GT.
Yeah. The Trinex, the beat Trinex into getting spit out of Trinex, Turtle Rock Front and doing those two is a nice option too because of the crystal.
Yeah, Skele taking care of another hanging check. Gonna get this thoroughly useless map.
Okay, so we're going to see 2 new entrances now. I don't believe either of these runners have done Hammer House or Hammer Pegs.
No, they have not. The Hammer House, which is actually a shop in vanilla for anyone who had no clue what was in there, is completely useless here. Hammer Pegs is next.
Yeah, and you gotta wonder, like, a lot of runners, especially at this level, will be checking like which item caves they have left. So maybe okay, there's 6 entrances that we just can't do, like GT and Bumper, or not Bumper, GT and Pyramid. Well, I guess they can do Pyramid now, but those ones they haven't checked, and then the boots locked ones. So if they're looking for a couple item caves, perhaps it's better than going to a boss.
Yeah, the worst thing about finding Quarreling Brothers there is you find it, you know it's not the answer no matter where it goes, but you feel compelled to take it anyway just to rule out an entrance for later.
Yeah, because if you get spit out of the Pyramid there, then that's like the only thing that's available. Because yeah, that's the last entrance that you can do. It's going to put you somewhere you can't do, because otherwise you would have seen it already.
I mean, I guess you could hope it spits you out of the GT entrance and you can just jump straight down into Meyer.
Yeah, that's true. It could be nice for routing. They could do the bomb vendor still, so that's not a good check to do. Though I don't know. I don't think Skele's done Minimate Cave. I guess that's the one thing you could combo it with.
Yeah, in this case, I'm inclined to really agree with Kyraeu's decision to chase pendants. So this is kind of the lead that we mentioned Kyraeu had built up showing itself earlier, because Kyraeu also checked all the stuff that Skele's checking now before he chose to clear out Misery Mire here. It's just, now that he's done with that, he's reached this point, whereas Skele has a little more work to do before getting here.
Yeah.
Well, the Vitreous item drop wasn't the answer. Yeah, you obviously beeline Sahas before going and killing Helmetsar King. There's just, I don't see any way you don't do that.
Yeah, for sure. And Chad asking, Fire Rods or Swamp Palace Small, would you prefer? I think that they're both, I think I would prefer the Swamp Palace Small just because I would rather not go mode Swamp than have to go all the way to GT. Because like it's like a 50-50 that it's going to be GT or Turtle Rock for the Swamp Small if you find the Fire Rod. So that's a point of divergence where I could lose. Whereas if I get the Swamp Small, I just go in, clear out Swamp minus left side. If it's not there, I go back to the left side.
I would prefer Fire Rod because at this point it only points to 2 places, and you always do Turtle Rock before going back to GT.
Yeah. So in the case where it's Turtle Rock is better, I guess the one thing that's bad about Swamp is if you find something like the boots that gives you some random locations that you have to go to. But if you find the Swamp Small, I'm thinking that you just find the Fire Rod in there and you just You don't get to go mode it, but you just skip the left side and hope it's not in there. And then if you don't get anything, you go back for left.
Yeah, I mostly just look. We're 223 in, and it's going to be some amount of time more before you're actually entering either of those dungeons. I don't want to do left side swamp this seed.
Oh yeah, for sure. It would be insulting.
Well, if you're Kyraeu, that feels really bad. I think you feel just totally bullied into going and killing Helmasaur King and blind pulling Pedestal.
Yeah.
I think from what we know, Helmasaur King has to be the answer, right?
Yeah, there could be something like a random one-off inside of the pyramid, but I'm trying to scratch my head thinking of anything else.
Yeah, I guess we aren't 100% clear on what is in the Pyramid Fairy entrance. I haven't been keeping careful count of entrances at all, but it is possible there's none remaining.
Yeah, I don't know if we've seen all of the... I don't recall if we saw a chest game or not. I know we saw like Chicken House, Brewery, C-shaped house.
I feel like we saw a chest game, but I mean, there's so many just random item caves that... Yeah. It's hard to keep track of every last one of them when you're playing, and it's twice as hard when you're not.
Yeah, because like I'll use like a tracker where I check them off, but like when you're trying to commentate and you also are trying to track entrances, it's a tall order.
I gotta say, I am impressed that Kyraeu had still not checked the Bamos monolith until this point. But that's kind of another relief learning that's nothing. Because again, like, you feel bad about the seed as a whole, but given that your opponent hasn't finished yet, you just assume that if Helmasaur King's the answer, that your opponent made similar decisions you did.
Yeah, for sure. Because like it's just such a bad check. It's bad for a number of reasons. This is a terrible location to get back to. I guess your best option is to go through desert, depending on where you are in the seed. And then Helmasaur himself is also a terrible check. And most people, the way they route the seed, it's very hard to imagine somebody coming here and just full clearing pod the first time, because you're going to probably know it's a pendant, and you're probably going to come here when you don't have enough small keys, but Hellman logic.
Yeah, the biggest divergence here would be if someone walked into this dungeon not knowing pod was a pendant, then you would just kill Helmasaur King to learn that fact. But if this is the answer and that just unlocks the seed, then you would generally assume if your opponent did that, they'd already be done. So you feel relatively confident your opponent did not do that.
Yeah, and this seed, the way these sort of seeds, it's like you've got a whole 20 minutes of thinking your opponent's going to be done any minute, and you're just doing terrible check. It's kind of a roller coaster. You're sitting here cursing about having to beat Pendant Helmasaur King because it's your best check left, and all the time wondering if your opponent's just going to finish before you even get there.
But hey, you haven't checked pedestals, so in Kyraeu's mind, this is 2 checks.
Yeah, you definitely, once you got down to the point where Helma and Vitreous were 2 of your best checks, there's absolutely no reason to check the pedestal, because you're going to have to beat the bosses to get it anyway.
I'm going to say I'm really impressed by how little the world is left and we're still on Master Sword and we still don't have silver arrows.
Or boots, even. It's like all the items that you really like, yeah, you just don't get them. But you'll get Mirror Shield and Redman.
Like, it's just for me, imagine doing 200 checks and then ending it with Master Sword silverless.
Such an insult. I mean, because when you get to that point, like, if you find the Swamp Small, I think you're definitely still checking Swamp Check. You're not going to do left side or anything, but like, the odds of it being silvers or another sword are just so high. Alright, so Kyraeu almost done with this Helmasaur fight. We'll get to finally figure out what it is that Helmasaur is hiding today. Could be Fire Rod, Swamp Small, could even be something like Boots. It's the Fire Rod.
So the item I wanted to see and no one else wanted to see shows up here. Like, to me, this just makes the decision-making very easy. You kill Trinex, put you at 6 crystals, you get 3 fairly quick checks, And if that's not the answer, there is exactly one place it points you to. It screams at you to go, in fact.
Yeah, for sure. Because there's no way you do GT before Turtle Rock. Because you have to do Turtle Rock. And just the way that Turtle Rock works, you go into Laser Bridge and then you get spit out at the front entrance, and you're right there. You might as well go in for those 2. The worst case scenario is you do those 2 extra quick fire rod checks in TR that you didn't have to do. Whereas if you do GT first, you might accidentally do a whole get up to GT and do it. And yeah, it's completely free. You just do exactly what Kyraeu is doing here.
More help from Team Tracker letting us know that, or reminding us rather, because I think we all noticed it in the first place, but just might have forgotten about it. There's a sword on the Desert Torch just kind of laughing at us.
Yeah, that's definitely something that we saw, and then the seed is just dragged on so long that you don't remember.
Even remembering it, it's still not accessible.
Nope. Now, if you get the boots, like for free somewhere, like on Argus, I think you get that sword. Because like you save and quit to Sank, you're right by Desert, and then you got to go to Ganon, and he's like at the Sank drop down.
I think it depends on whether you have silvers.
Yeah, for sure. If you have silvers, you don't.
And I guess the sort of stupidly obvious point is if you have the last sword, then you also obviously don't do that.
Yeah, because the difference between Gold Sword is, like, the difference between Tempered Sword Silvers and Master Sword Silvers is not big, though it is bigger than Gold Sword Silverless versus Tempered Sword Silverless. But Master Sword Silverless versus Tempered Sword Silverless is like a minute or so, a minute and a half, and it doesn't take that long to get that Desert Torch.
Yeah, Tempered Sword's a big time saver. Gold Sword makes Ganon easier. Not really faster, but easier.
Yeah, it really goes from being like the 1-in-1 is not free by any means when you have Tempered Sword, but most runners are very practiced in it, so they can get it consistently. And then with Gold Sword, it's just really free. You just do 6 slashes on both phases, and it's pretty risk-free.
And I mean, with their current health, they could use what I like to call red mail strats. It's you kind of hold toward Ganon and hit the sword button a lot, and if you get hit, so be it.
Yeah, it's like Ganon actually has to hit you more times than you have to hit him, so it's not even a fair fight.
You know, it was a funny thought. It was like a realization I had a kid. It's kind of obvious you think about it all, but for me it was an epiphany, was realizing that Link with all of his equipment is actually considerably stronger than Ganon. It's not a fair fight.
Oh, that's interesting.
Come on, Kyraeu, how do you not open that chest? You're on Master Sword Silverless.
Yeah, that's kind of insane. Like, I was thinking I absolutely checked that one. If I have silvers and Tempered Sword, I skip it like that too, but not with Master Sword Silverless. But who knows? Maybe he just knew that wasn't going to be a sword or the silvers.
I mean, at this point, I think Kyraeu's ahead by enough. He's going to win regardless, as long as he doesn't make significant detours for fruitless checks, which if he skips that, he's not going to do that.
Yeah, and I think that comes down to, like, it's you think your opponent's going to be done any second, so you want to go as quick as possible. Because even with what we know, like, the odds of that being a sword is like, what? Going to be 1 in 10 for sword or silvers? 1 in 13 or 14. I guess it depends on what other items.
The fact that sword or silvers would give you that, or in boots is effectively giving you a sword, you gotta kind of weigh that all in.
I definitely still would have checked. I think it makes sense.
And I mean, in all honesty, if it's boots, even if you don't go for the sword in desert, they pay for themselves in swamp.
Yeah, because that's literally, it's like 5 seconds to walk over there and open up the chest. But also, okay, I think if he doesn't have literally every small key in the game, I think he opens that too. Because it's like, normally when you see the small key, you have to wait for the text box and then you get it. But like, you see that, I could see him getting that small key and just immediately mashing Y because he knows that's exactly what he needed.
I mean, in all honesty, he probably wasn't even considering what other small things could help him. He just was considering
I
gotta go.
Yes, this is a small key. It's what I need. I have literally every other small key. It has to be the one. See you later.
Like, that to me is Kyraeu saying, this is a 5-2 match and we're over 230. How is it even possible I haven't lost yet? I gotta go.
So did elect to check those ones. Get the
I think after the save and quit, he had the moment of reflection of, you know, the value remaining in the check is really high with what I know. I can make this Ganon fight a lot faster. And look, Silver Arrows makes the Ganon fight a lot faster.
Yeah, so even checking those swamp, all 3 of those checks in swamp, they save time. And there's the boots in the big chest of Thieves' Tales, so that's where those guys were hiding.
I'm going to throw out there, Skele checked that before. Kyraeu would have checked that, even if Kyraeu, you know, hadn't found anything and his natural routing would have eventually last locationed him there. That was a win condition for Skele if that had been the critical answer.
Yeah, and that's why you see Skele immediately following those boots to the Bonk Rocks, because when you're this late in the seed, you're wondering, okay, what are my chances? Why is my opponent not done? What did they miss? And that's absolutely an answer to that question. We know it's not actually correct, but it's he's playing those outs here.
Yeah, so even though it feels like Kyraeu was at a lead for about half the race, Skele had a lead early on, I would say. It's just important to keep in mind that even this late at 235, we just saw what was a Skele win condition.
Yeah, and we also get to see that there was, in fact, one single item cave left, at least, and it had the other sword in it. So at least the mystery of where are the swords and silvers has been solved. They're just both very deep in the seed.
And yeah, in terms of just like the agony of, you know, just how tense you are, just expecting a dot at any time, just the feeling every one of those 4 silver arrow misses for Kyraeu, it just like burns your soul.
Yeah, that's why you're definitely feeling good that you don't have to do Master Sword Silverless, because then you've got 48 full spins of waiting. Is my opponent gonna dot done when I'm on spin number 42? But luckily you got those silvers. So we'll get to see Kyraeu come over to this Ganon drop down over at the Sanctuary spot, and it's not going to be as quick of a Ganon defeat as you'd expect with this high of a completion rate, but won't be too bad either.
Yeah, like, silvers aren't really going to help you with the first couple phases, but you also do have Cape. I'm pretty sure Kyraeu has at least 1 blue potion, so you can definitely make this a lot faster than it seems like it would normally be. And then silver arrows just, they save enormous amounts of time in the last phase of Master Sword.
Yeah, and so for as far as collection rate, what do you think that we're gonna see out of Kyraeu? Because I'm thinking I think we're gonna be around 195. Like, he skipped some items in Swamp, he skipped that 1 Turtle Rock item and 4 items in GT, and then like some boots locked items, some random skips. But we're gonna be, I think, 190 to 195 here.
Yeah, Ganon really cooperating with these teleport locations.
Yeah, giving him. You really like when you get up in that top right corner when you're on Master Sword.
I mean, if you're using the cape strats, just as long as he puts himself 1 tile away from any wall, you feel pretty good about it.
Yeah. And it's really nice because if he gives you really bad patterns, it can be like 4 cycles of Master Sword spins, whereas if you get one of those, you're basically going to get 1 or 2.
Yeah, and here's Skele heading for Helmasaur King. We know this is his answer, but we're probably about 4 Ganon falls away from this being a race again, and I don't think at this level we're seeing 4 Ganon falls.
Yeah. So we'll get to just see 4 more silver shots, and then Kyraeu will be able to take this match. So,
oh man, like the nerves are just shining through here. Like, and you know Kyraeu is just beating himself up for every single miss here. Like, we know he's safe, but
you definitely don't feel
safe.
Yeah, whenever you're close to 240, you guys are both X2, you know that most of the time, both of you guys finish much faster than this. Oh, very nerve-wracking.
I do like at least that even though this has to be a little tilting some of the little mistakes he's made on Ganon, Kyraeu never got over-aggressive and started trying to compensate. Because falling is the way he really could have doomed himself. And he was able to keep it together, take care of the fight. That's going to be GG for Kyraeu, and Kyraeu will be joining the play-in race.
Yeah, get your GGs in chat for Kyraeu, finishing with an official race time.gg time of 2:39:02. And it looks like Kyraeu will be joining us for an interview today. And we can see on Skele's side, he has elected to forfeit, knowing that he is pretty close to go mode, doesn't really want to finish out this race, just needs to find that swamp small. All right, we're joined by Skele. Skele, good game. Any thoughts on this seed?
GG. I think that might have been the worst Crosskeys seed I've ever played in my life.
It was certainly a bad one.
Yeah, it wasn't that friendly. Your opponent finished just as you learned where the needle in that haystack was. You probably won't be too surprised to learn that Swamp Small was just Fire Rod locked in Turtle Rock.
Yeah, I figured it was either that or right side GT basement.
I mean, with what you knew, didn't it actually have to be one of those two? I guess you hadn't returned Super Bomb yet, but that was the last thing you were ever going to do.
Yeah, I think it had to be one of those three things. So I lost count of how many things I last locationed, but Fire Rod was one of them. Moon Pearl was another one. Oof. That was rough.
Yeah, it was actually kind of interesting in the sense that I felt like your early game really helped you out a lot because you found the mirror way before Kyraeu did. Like, you went straight to the mirror. He put off Desert basically as long as you plausibly could. But then you kind of stalled out for a while just trying to find what to do with that mirror, and then you kind of evened out for a while, and then Kyraeu just sort of started to pull ahead on checks, and that ultimately led to him finding the Fire Rod first, as at nearly the bottom of his pile, too.
Yeah, I felt like every choice I had for the last 15 minutes or so were just so terrible.
Hey,
Yeah.
GG.
GG.
That was awful.
Yep.
I
So
thought
I will share a little piece of information with you, Kyraeu. You want to guess what was in the Thieves Town big chest?
boots.
Yeah, and it led to the last sword in the Bonk Rocks.
Okay, cool. At least the sword wasn't the other one, the chest in Turtle Rock, that I was like, oh, I'm in go mode. Let's not check it. Wait. Immediately after I mirror, wait, that could have been tempered or a bow.
Yeah, where you just mashed, you saw a small key and you had literally every other small key in the game and just started mashing mirror.
Yeah, when I saw the key on the ledge, I counted and I was like, well, this is either the last pod key or go mode. Or I guess I might not have had Fire Rod there, and it wasn't there. So I was like, okay, I know it's the last small key. Wherever it is.
Yeah, I gotta love that Swamp Small key. Also, that hammer location, man, that was crazy.
Not even kidding. Tourney match last week also had Hammer and GT Climb. Or behind GT Climb.
Yeah, and I'd say GT Climb was actually probably the single most dividing point of the race, because on your side, Kyraeu, I won't say you did GT Climb early, you certainly didn't, but you did it before Hammerless Ice, and you also did it before Kern jumping over to East Dark World, which was in logic to access through Aga 1 anyway.
Yes. I figured, yeah.
You did that, whereas Skele, on the other hand, did it the other way around. He Kern jumped, cleared out all of the Eastern Dark World, went into Hammerless Ice, got a whole lot of nothing for it, and that's, I think, really what helped you be ahead when you needed to go toward last locationing that Fire Rod.
Yeah, after just forgetting that Desert existed for 20 minutes, I needed some way to come back. I was like, sure, let's bank on GT Climb over Hammerless Ice or I thought it was still Logic Break. I hadn't worked out that Aga was in Logic yet. To go over to East Dark World.
Yeah, there was definitely a lot of... The seed was a little ornery today. It definitely made you guys work a little hard for it. But I guess let's not focus on how bad the seed was. Let's focus on the upside, at least for you, Kyraeu. How are you feeling about making the play-in race?
Honestly, I expect to do way worse, so I'm really happy with this. I was hoping to go even in this tournament, so having a chance at bracket still is awesome.
Hey, me too. That was my goal too, just to go even.
Yeah, it's definitely, you look at some of the names that are like X3 or X2, and it's definitely an accomplishment to do well in this tournament. The community just goes so deep, and there's so many strong runners.
Yeah, to me it was crazy as I was just looking at, all the people he had in it. I'm like, this is a 168 person tournament. Usually tournaments that big would be easy, but boy, this just isn't.
Yeah, you just need you can get one seed where you make one, there's a wrong decision that your opponent gains 15 minutes on you, and then you get a win, and then you're on your back foot the whole rest of the tournament because you can only take the 2 losses. All right, so either of you guys have any closing thoughts before we head out tonight?
Thanks to both of you guys for casting, the trackers, Restreamer, everybody who put this together. It's awesome to have this to watch when I'm not racing myself, so thanks everyone.
Yeah, same. It's been super fun to participate in this.
Well, we were definitely glad to have you, and this really was, from a viewership perspective, this was a very exciting race. Until that fire rod was actually found, there were still outs on both sides, so it was a great race. We were really happy to have both of you, and we're looking forward to seeing what you do in the play-in and potentially the bracket, Kyraeu.
Okay, and with that, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. As already stated, thank you to our runners, thank you to our commentators and trackers. Please follow everybody. I put the links in the chat. That appears to be it for tonight. Over on ZSR3, we have a Ocarina of Time Randomizer Random Settings League tournament match between Vodzilla and What the Hell Happened. So we're going to go raid them. It's a lot of chaos, fun to watch. Tomorrow, we have a few Majora's Mask Randomizer tournament matches, as well as some Zelda 2 Randomizer matches. And hopefully we get some Crosskeys up there as well. Waiting on volunteers, see what we can throw into the schedule. And with that, we're going to go ahead and sign off here. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Hope you had a wonderful time, and have a fantastic rest of your night.